Hello, and a very, very warm welcome on this April evening to the Sepang International Circuit, the host of Round 5 of the 2026 Formula Sprint 1 Championship here in GPVWC. My name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me in the commentary box, as ever, is the wonderful, trustworthy, dependable Eoin Harmon, and the equally wonderful, trustworthy, and dependable broadcast director Fabian Jungbluth on cameras then, making sure we catch as much of the action here as possible. And there will be plenty of action in the 28-lap feature race and the 19-lap reverse grid sprint race to come after it. Before that, of course, we have qualifying then. But of course, Eoin, we have a very, very interesting picture. The Drivers' Championship, a very dominant leader at the present moment, unsurprisingly, in the form of Frenchman Alex Laho, who leads Frank coming by a full 85 points after only 8 races in the first 4 events so far then. So that is quite the margin he has got over the Dutchman already. Potentia GP's Amari Watson and Jack Mayer are 3rd and 4th in that order. Then we have Emerald Hummingbird's Patrick Rozak equal with Jack Mayer in 4th. Lucas Filan, 6th on 80 points. Whoa, that's a bit confusing because it says Lucas Filan. I believe Alexander Gonzalez-Green should be a point ahead of Lucas Filan. So I think that's a minor,
a little bit of a glitch
minor error there. But I'm sure Lucas Filan won't mind. Gonzalez-Green certainly might have something to say. Well, the American who's had a strong start to the season, although last couple of events he's been 12th, 11th, and 12th and 10th. So certainly not quite the 2 podiums that he got in rounds 1 and 2. And Filan, of course, always a bit of a threat whenever you look. Scott Flack, of course, he is definitely in 8th at the moment. Bit of an up-and-down season for him so far. Some bad luck impacting his results. As so also the case for Damien Cardas. And then we have Menno Klont, 10th at the moment after scoring every race so far. Sadly, that streak will not continue because I believe Menno has a bit of a emergency that's cropped up at the last minute. Oh, that's Remco that's missed. Oh, Menno will be there. Okay, so don't worry. Menno, fine. Menno's point streak is secure. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, and CM Tech Racing. It's Remco de Zio, our other broadcast director, who can't be here today. So I got our 2 Dutchmen mixed up there, Remco and Menno.
Sure happens.
But so Remco will not be in the Excellion, of course. That will be piloted instead, not by Juho Soppanen, but by... potentially it might be a very, very late call, so we'll have to see if anybody can show up on time. But of course, the other Excellion, driven by Cedric Bill, that is here today. So the Frenchman looking to emulate his countrymen and start to climb up the leaderboards. We see the other CM Tech of Wopke Hoekstra first at the exit of the pit lane. But I'm going to stop rambling on and let Eoin get a word in edgeways as qualifying begins, Eoin. So very, very dominant Alex Laho at the top of the standings, as we say, by nearly 90 points now. But Teams Championship-wise, it is Potentia that lead Hugh by 4 points. And Hugh, of course, have got a new driver in today for Alessandro Iannone, Che Hatch as well. So it'll be fascinating to see how he gets on. Then we've got HGP Motorsports, 19 points behind, also within touching distance of Potentia as well. So a really fascinating Teams Championship, but in the drivers, no doubt who is going to still be out front no matter what happens today.
Absolutely, Ed. Thank you so much for the introduction. I really appreciate that. And this Sepang International Circuit is a new one to add to my to-do list here in GPWC, as I wasn't here in 2019 or earlier to witness any racing around here. So it is fantastic to see this track back in action after 7 years away, pretty much. And as you say, with the Teams Championship battle, the fascination is that the poor old Hugh Performance second car has been completely devoid of any points. So that has allowed Potentia, using their pedigree with Mayer and Watson, to pull 4 points clear in the Teams Championship, and that livens things up a bit. Of course, HGP getting off the mark with Frank Hamming in the race 2 at Saudi Arabia 2 weeks ago helps them with their cause to go within 19 points of the lead. So here we go with our first out laps completed, and Wopke Hoekstra in CM Tech will get us started for the first hot lap.
Yeah, I'm sure when we do the next GPVWC FS2, FS1 podcast, that Toby Davies is going to mercilessly remind and mock me that I predicted Wopke Hoekstra to be champion this season. And Wopke, well, he's had a couple of ups and downs. 2 point scores so far in the first race in Australia and in the second race in round 2 as well, where in both cases he finished P13. But other than that, it's been very, very tricky. Not the most luck on the Dutchman's side here, but Wopke Hoekstra remains one of the most popular, likable characters in GPVWC, of course, not just in Formula Sprint 1. And you can see Wopke going through the middle sector. That's 5 and 6 he's just negotiated there. That sort of high-speed chicane as he now comes towards the middle sector. Now, Sepang International Circuit, as you say, it's not a track that it's a track that's sort of fallen off the real-life Formula 1 calendar, isn't it? Of course, it's still used for motorbikes a fair bit, though. And it's certainly a popular circuit with a lot of good overtaking opportunities. And it's got a real sort of character as we go into the final couple of corners here in the beginning of the final sector, the Sunway Lagoon corner, because this long right-hander you really have to set up well. A lot of tarmac on the exit there. Used to just be grass there, so Wopke Hoekstra gets away with just a little bit of track extending, but still has the right-hand side of the car on terra firma, where it needs to be to stay within track limits. Into the final corner now, and this is a as you can see, because you have to go so low in the gears, the wheel spin on exit can be really, really challenging. Menno Kont briefly goes to the top of the times, but Alex Laho, unsurprisingly, sets a 1:37.4. Now, just before qualifying, I think Menno Kont said to me he predicted the pole time to be within 1:37.3 to 1:37.6, depending on the rubber laid down on the track then. So you have to say, so far, pretty much bang on the money as Jack Mayer goes second fastest, but still 2.5 tenths behind Laho's first effort there.
And there's a look at Che Hatch as well, backing up his teammate on the second row there. Really 0.6 of a second behind. Jonas Koala, who's going to lead the Cap Clay team today. He's got himself P10 at the moment, so nicely played there. But of course, in the other Cap Clay tonight, it's Mikael Tuomala. So it's the bit of a tongue twister for us who are not fluent in Swami there. So Kerala and Tuomala. So we got to make sure we pick them out appropriately.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, is this Tuomala's first appearance of the of the season in the Cap Clay, isn't it? So we've certainly missed him. He's had a succession of substitute drivers doing their best to fill his shoes, I guess. But yeah, it will be fascinating then to see how our new drivers get on. But Che Hatch, of course, was winning races in Academy, if I'm not mistaken, earlier this season, quite consistently as well. So it's going to be really, really exciting because, of course, the Englishman, I remember from some endurance events some years ago, I believe he drove for, I think it was Team Iris, in sort of GD3 class, if I'm not mistaken, in a couple of events where he was easily one of the standouts. Really, really consistent, very, very quick, which is exactly what you sort of need. And I remember being pretty handy at saving tyres as well, so that could serve him well. And Che Hatch was with Frank Hamming spinning up the tyres and having sort of counter steer into that final corner there. They're opening the DRS quite early on exit 2. Frank Hamming goes P8 for HGP, of course, won last time out in the reverse grid race at Saudi Arabia in Jeddah with a late overtake, wasn't it, on the one of the... It was Junio Lopez, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lopez, that's correct. Yeah, so close yet so far.
Yeah, you could tell a bit of frustration there, but Lopez certainly needed a really strong performance to turn his season around. And as he said, he just ran out of tyres a couple laps from the end and was kind of a sitting duck from that point on. As we look at Cedric Bill in, I believe, the Soul Excellion, trying to get into the top 20 at least. If we look at Bill's results this season, he did score P12 in the reverse grid round 2. And got a couple of points there, so he's on 4 points at the moment. But elsewhere, he's been sort of in and around sort of the lower end of the top 20, essentially. 17th, 19th, 18th, essentially, is sort of on average, usually where he ends up being. So, yeah, Cedric Bill will be very, very keen to sneak into the points once again, and that starts with, hopefully, a stronger qualifying lap. He's 2.8 seconds off Laho's pace at the present moment, so... We got 2 yellow cars on the top 3 and another yellow car desperately getting back into the pits for new tyres here to try and make another attempt in his final 8 minutes here.
Yeah, the first third of the session has really flown by. Definitely the field spread in the midfield is quite tight. But yeah, definitely we've heard some news about Alex Lahu from trackside. We're going to check out this action replay. And he's stuck in the garage. I believe he's had an incident somewhere, so we're trying to find that on the broadcast footage there.
I was going to say, and this is an
Yeah.
interesting definition of action replay. Look at Alex sat in the garage
Static replay, but-
on his backside, not
Yeah.
doing much.
Yeah, we'll try and
Twiddling
find
his
exactly
thumbs.
what's happened, but he's the only one for the moment, I think, marked as absent from the circuit. He's just completely missing, but we'll hopefully find out exactly what happened on his in-lap, we're led to believe, from trackside. So that leaves Che Hatch by himself in the other Hugh Performance car for the remainder of the session, if indeed Alex has binned it by himself.
Of course, all hope's not lost, even if he has had an incident that's wrecked the car on the way back into the pit lane. That pole position time at the moment, 137.478. Good enough to be, as I say, 2.5 tenths clear of Jack Mayer, the man we're looking at just there. And here is Alex Laho coming into the final sector. It's into Sunway Lagoon corner. He dips it out a little too far. Oh! And finds an invisible curb that decides to bite him. So nothing Alex Laho could have done to avoid that. And that is really the first major time we've seen something go horribly wrong in a competitive session for Alex Laho. And he may yet even get pole position regardless of that, as Che Hatch avoids that evil curb on the outside there.
Well, that's definitely something for all the other drivers to take significant note of there. And even Alex himself can see the funny side in our YouTube stream chat there. So thank you so much for everybody for pointing that out to us. We wouldn't have spotted it ourselves. But yeah, there we go. Some bit of humor in the gallows there for Alex Laho there, but he still has that advantage with the 137.4. Che Hatch, of course, wants to get closer to his teammate, and he's in contention to do it. He certainly has. P2 for Che Hatch there. Absolutely sensational to make it a Hugh Performance 1-2.
Oh, and only by 0.003 of a second ahead of 2023 FS1 champion Jack Mayer there. So these are big names that Che Hatch is certainly impressing in. He certainly is proving to be a very, very good support act to Alex Laho here. Though, of course, Eoin yet to score points as the regular driver of that car, but he has certainly had his fair share of bad luck and close calls that haven't quite gone his way then. So I think Eoin clearly got potential. Let's hope when he gets back in the car, his luck turns around. As here's the second Emerald Hummingbird, Yo Soppinen at the wheel. The super sub who did score points in the reverse grid at Saudi Arabia last night gets into 21st position. So he's ahead of Pablo Serrano, Alexander Ragozza, Christian Maltrek, and Cedric Bill at the moment, with Victor Bernat, the only driver yet to set a time in the session for Alpha Sierra in car number 9.
And in fairness to Juho there, he's collecting a fair few team credentials today, or this season, I should say, with 3 different teams he's represented. So
all the colours of the rainbow. He's getting all the primary colours.
Yeah, he's hoping to gather as many signatures as he can on his contracts. So
he was the real Emerald Hummingbird. The team is named after, I'm sure. But buzzing from team to team. Yeah. More of a social butterfly, I think.
Absolutely, yes.
There we go.
And Camming is understeered into the pit, I should say, sorry.
That's quite the... If he was going to make the corner, he left that quite late in the day. So, yeah, that looks more like a pit entry than it is. In comes Juba. Just improves up to P11, but that gets beaten by... Oh, is that a good lap from Vopke Hoekstra? Up to P7, or was that Fyland that just set that lap there? No, it was Hoekstra starting.
It was Vopke, yeah.
So Hoekstra only 11 thousandths behind Omari Watson, and Watson himself is just a single thousandth of a second behind Michael Francesconi in the fight for 5th position. So about 3.5 tenths between Francesconi and Rozak in the lead Emerald Hummingbird. So our top 4 with quite the margin over everybody else. And of course, Alex Laho, lucky he did set that quick lap when he did then, because now the pressure is really on everybody else to try and beat it. Alex can sort of put his feet up and wait for the recession to tick over and the race to start, because he's not got no option of going back out the garage unless he wants a stonking great grid penalty, back of the grid penalty for the next round, of course. Some of my drivers have made that mistake in the past as well, where without having had the car absolutely walk over a bomb, they've just pressed escape, gone back to the pits, gone back out almost without thinking, because they're so used to doing it in practice, essentially. So we see Jack Mayer setting the fastest first sector of anybody, 25.2, only slightly quicker than Alex Laho then. So Mayer has got to keep that momentum going as we look at Bernat setting his first competitive lap of the session.
He's by himself at the moment for Alpha Sierra. They don't have Dominic Korshaven at the moment, so hopefully he can make a last-minute appearance. And this looks like a reasonable time heading into the final corner now. Hopefully, he certainly should be aiming for Stephen Lexo there, who about a few minutes ago set a very good time there to be 13th quickest. So Victor across the line, hoping for 137 or 138. Oh, even better than that. Yeah, 138.2 helps him comfortably into the top 10. Great job.
Yeah, Bernat, of course, regular in FS2, isn't he? So interested to see him sneaking into the top 10 there. I'm trying to remember if Victor got out on well during the chaotic FS2 encounters on Tuesday. I was rather preoccupied with how my driver's doing. Jack Mayer here, he is. Oh, a little bit slower in the middle sector, so it's all down to this exit here, and the car looking a bit squirrely. Can he get on terms with Che Hatch at least here? No, he cannot, and he's only got 2 minutes left in the session. Jack Mayer's got to hope he hasn't taken the best out of these tyres then, because he may well find himself starting behind an all-Hue Performance front row, and that's the first time that this could happen then this season, so I'm sure of the Vietnamese owner will be absolutely grinning from ear to ear at the moment.
Yeah, as well he should. Definitely reasonably close venue to Vietnam, not too far away, I suppose you could say, relative to other venues this season. Jonas Kerala does not improve that time. He stays P16 there. Didn't quite find the necessary few tenths he required there. 139, not quite where he needs to be. But Omari Watson, though, can he make sure that Hue Performance's latest success isn't that perfect, I should say. He wants to break up that battle. He needs to get close to his teammate as he heads through the middle sector, split line, and just there it is now. He's on course to improve Ed, so he needs to get closer to his teammate and try and catch up to Hatch at the moment. So Che Hatch doing a great job.
Also doing a great job is Thijs Youngstra, of course, another of Dutch driver climbing up the ranks from FS2 for this round as, Francesconi up to P7 there, just behind his teammate Frank Kang, but Thijs Youngstra filling in for Bodil Racing for, I believe, Alexander Gonzalez Green. He's gone 5th fastest, 97 thousandths of a second, nearly a full 10th of a second ahead of Frank Kang, of course, the man second in the points then. Omari Watson coming over the line now. And it's P6. He goes in, just 42 thousandths of a second behind Thijs Youngstra then. So, yeah, another Douglas Adams approved margin of gap there. As we see Lucas Phelan then slotting right behind him. 27 thousandths behind him, P7 then. So it's incredibly tight here. Basically behind second place onwards.
Without a doubt, yeah. Very impressive stuff here. So Thailand will hope the second lap back-to-back will help him figure out what to do. The checkered flag is now dropped. We have finished our 15 minutes, so it's all about getting to the finish line if you are in the middle of a lap. If you're not in an out lap and haven't crossed the line already, then you'll have to take what you're given, or else someone else could step up and take it off you. So Cedric Bill, 26th and last on the grid at the moment. He's currently setting green sectors, so that bodes well. But Soppinen in his Emerald Hummingbird needs to try and get another couple of tenths to raise up into the top 20. That's certainly an objective for the Finn to meet here as he heads across the line in the back ends. I keep getting those mixed
That's
up.
the wrong one.
Wrong one, yeah. I knew I'd do that. The first line, but now the one that matters the most. Here we go. Can he get the job done here? 138 should be the target. If he can make it, it's going to be close. Not quite, but P23 is reasonable enough there, so solid job.
Not bad for a late call-up. Scott Flack goes into 5th right at the end there. Just 36 thousandths ahead of Thijs Youngstra, 138.011. I think Wesley Stefano was the only other one I saw improving in the first sector. Not sure he was able to complete that lap, so he stays in P17. But yeah, Scott Flack, the Australian, Malaysia, also pretty close to Australia, funnily enough, in the sort of Southeast Asia, of course. So yeah, Scott Flack getting the overpower into the top 5 and hoping once again to put a disappointing Jetta behind him and challenge for victory there. But there you go, confirmation. It is an all-Hue Performance front row. Well, I'm sure Hoang Duong Tran Nong, the team principal from Vietnam of Hue Performance, will be absolutely relishing this, getting an all-Hue Performance front row with leading Che Hatch for the first time in the Hatch. Considering I think this is his first FS1 start in a long, long while, if indeed his first start period. That's very, very impressive. Jack Mayer will line up 3rd on the grid with Patrick Rozak for company. Then it will be Scott Flack in P5 with Thijs Youngstra for Bodil in P6. Another impressive qualifying from him as well. Amari Watson will start P7 ahead of Lucas Feiler. Then it's HDPs in 9th and 10th with Hamming leading Francesconi. P11, we have Wopke Hoekstra, who out-qualifies Menno Kon, his teammate, for the first time in a while this season. Victor Bernat is in between them in P12. Then in 14th, we have Stephen Lexo, filling in for Oliver Hargatai at KKR Esports. James Juba for Bodil will line up in 15th. That will be the final points-paying position come the race. Yunus Karala in 16th on the grid, a second off of pole position. Then we got Wesley Stefano in P17, Philip Koenig for Team Iris in P18, Massimiliano Rabodi in 19th, Michelle Galka in 20th. Finally, our final 6 cars on the grid. We have Raymond Van Sust for MS Performance in 21st, Christian Mautrek in 22nd, Juho Soppen in 23rd, and then the 01s of Pablo Serrano and Alexander Bragota 24th and 25th, and Cedric Bill bringing up the rear in 26, 2.7 seconds off the pace, unfortunately for him. But of course, that is at least one excelling car on the grid, so that is positive.
Yeah, so very impressive work there for all our drivers in the battle to secure points. So yeah, a total of the top 15 actually all were within 1 second of the pole time. So that is very impressive indeed. It never gets boring to see how many drivers can get close to the pole sitter to that degree. So
it's a little bit how many matches can you fit into a matchbox without the matchbox breaking in half, essentially.
Exactly, yes, absolutely.
The answer is 15 in this instance. But there we go. They've moved into the warm-up session now, so I guess our aim now is just to ramble until warm-up ends instead of preview the race to come then. So, of course, Alex, with the big lead that he has in the championship, what do you think is going to happen if Che Hatch gets a brilliant launch off the line here, Eoin? Do you think Alex Laho is going to just sit back and let Che Hatch take control of the race, or do you reckon he might be tempted to just have a fight against his teammate there? Because Hugh Performance in that very tight battle in the Teams Championship, as I said, with their 4 points behind Potentia GP, they need to kind of maximize this result here. Laho, of course, will have his own Drivers' Championship aspirations to mind, but Che Hatch, definitely with a little something to prove, has got, you wouldn't think he would be too keen to just slot in behind and wait for the 28 laps to expire and then just maybe hold up Mayer and Rozak behind him.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question there, Ed. It hasn't come up yet for the brand new team, Hugh Performance, but I suppose Alex isn't that scared of waiting behind another driver until the pit stops, and that's when he's definitely sprung into action quite often. Certainly, it was tricky enough at Suzuka. He had to wait his turn there, and then he eventually won it on strategy. So if it was a case where Che Hatch took the lead, then I wouldn't be expecting him to move aside. I think he would give him a fair battle if there was an opening to do so, but he wouldn't be a driver who would panic knowing that his teammate is ahead of him, because he knows how strong he is with pit strategy. So my prediction would be Alex would sit in the second place until the pit stops, where he knows he can make his move.
Interesting. We're actually seeing on track at the moment, I believe Laho and Hatch have just left the pit lane together, both on the soft tyres. So I wonder, is that maybe an indication? Because it seems in the last couple of races in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia that the strategy of choice in race 1 has been go for the medium in the first stint and then put the soft on at the pit stop. And then you've got your softer, higher, faster performing tyre for the final stint when the fuel has gone down a little bit. Whereas it seems only a couple of drivers went for the sort of alternate strategy. What was usually the primary strategy typically is you start on the soft escape in the first stint and then switch to the harder tyre for the remainder of the race, essentially. So it could be interesting here if Hugh Performance in particular decide to split the strategies between the two. But of course, really it's Potentia starting 3rd and 7th with Mayer and Watson. Jack Mayer in the middle of a podium streak at the moment, ever since reverse grid round 2, wasn't it, at Japan, where he finished 3rd. He's never been off the podium. He's gone 3rd, 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, 3rd in the last couple of races. And this is, of course, including where Jack got disconnected in the first race at Melbourne, then got taken out in a big accident in the reverse grid race. So Mayer, if anything, potential GP are doing very well to get back into the lead of the team's championship, despite losing a load of points with one of their main contenders, it must be said, in Jack Mayer in the first round of the season then. So yeah, that really shows that Che Hatch's contribution could be all important here in this particular event then, as we look at the backwards from is that the HGP we're riding on board? I would suggest that's probably Frank Hamming then.
Yeah, for the thumbnail, of course. It's HGP's turn, and yeah, coincidentally, they are the most recent team to win a reverse grid sprint race. So, yeah, Frank Hamming getting down to business reasonably early this season. I know sometimes he can spike into life a little bit later into the campaign, but definitely incredible good news for him to get the first win of the season out of the way, so he can try and aim for more. But of course, Lahu has swept up practically 90% of them, if my maths are correct, or nearly enough, 88%, however, around down. He has been nearly unbeatable, just those 2 cases so far out of the 8 actual races run.
Yeah, and of course, the race driver for HUB in the second seat was Emmanuel Gagzella. And since then, Michael Francesconi's come in as emergency driver and has done the last couple of races, been very, very competitive. Beat Frank Hamming, I think, in both races at Bahrain, if I'm not mistaken, before Hamming hit back with a great performance, particularly in that reverse grid race at Jeddah, where he stuck with Junio Lopez and then struck upon him when tire trouble hit late on. So, yeah, Hamming, at the moment, second in the points, of course, ahead of both HGP drivers. But there's only 6 points between himself and Watson, of course. So it could get very, very interesting as this season goes on, where Hamming has got to rely on not just his raw speed, but his consistency as well. And of course, if we look at where Frank qualified today, if I just remind myself of where everybody qualified, well, Frank Hamming, of course, P9, just over his teammate Francesconi then. So he is sort of a little bit on the back foot, it must be said, even though we're used to sort of seeing Frank Hamming not qualifying in the top 10, then fighting his way back into it in previous seasons. He's worked on it, so now the new standard for Frank Hamming is sort of 5th or 6th, essentially, in qualifying. So definitely one you would expect. He's focusing on maybe a bit of tyre preservation come the race, rather than out-and-out pace then. So yeah, it'll be fascinating. I think Menno Klont, in his suggestion to us earlier, said he didn't really expect anybody to do race 2 on the soft tyre, or at least not with any intention of making it to the end without a pit stop then. So I wonder if Frank Hamming might be hearing those words in the back of his mind. Hopefully not as he's driving, of course, because that would be incredibly distracting. I wouldn't want to think that as he slows to a crawl, almost if he can hear me into turn 1. But I wouldn't want anyone me second-guessing what I'm saying as they're driving around, because I know from living with my own voice my entire life, it can be a bit on the annoying side when you're trying to do a normal things. So, yeah, Frank Hamming could be one of the few that goes for the soft tyre come race 2. But, of course, it is 6th through to 10th that will be our reverse grid positions come the end of race 1. So Frank Hamming has really got to hope he finishes as high up in that, so that he'll at least benefit from the reverse grid draw no matter what happens, essentially.
Yeah, you certainly see cases where someone narrowly finishes in 8th and they get the lucky draw, which means P9, which was denied that P8, is completely missed out on any sort of benefit, so they have to stay P9 in race 2. So even if you feel like a top 5 was your preferred result, sometimes it is to the benefit that you get the reverse grid draw go your way, rather than if you finish in the top 5. So sometimes these things can go your way and sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, it is one of those where yeah, you've got to strategize in both scenarios, depending on how successful you've been in the feature race. Yeah, sometimes it does pay to finish outside the top 5, but not 11th or lower.
Yeah, well, that said, Alex Laho's obviously started pretty much at the sort of at the back of the reverse positions in the reverse grid. All 4 events this season, hasn't he? He's been the race 1 dominated, despite, of course, finishing behind Patrick Rozak in Bahrain. Rozak did get penalised post-race, of course. Laho's reverse grid record is second in round 1 to Watson, and then winner in Suzuka, winner in the reverse grid of Bahrain, and then 4th last time out. First time he finished off the podium in Jeddah. Then, so you would think Sepang, in theory, we should be back in Alex Laho territory here.
Yeah, I suppose Sepang, certainly there are a lot of key overtaking points around here. The obvious one would be the turns 1 and 2, double hairpins. Turn 4, very possible to get alongside another car. Turn 9, very possible there if you get a good run out with the double apex right. And certainly turn 13 into 14, you can pick up a place there if another opponent is not watching their mirrors and they understeer wide. And then certainly the last corner as well opens things up, so you have plenty of variety on offer here at Sepang, and you'll see cars following in the sweepers very tightly. And there's a perfect example of Harmon can make it stick out of 14. Yeah, absolutely spot on. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, I think Cedric Bill was a little bit caught unawares there. Oh, somebody's gone straight off there into turn 14 there, which is very easy to do if you get 13 wrong. And we see actually Harmon having to defend from the outside there. It's very, very easy, particularly the last corner of the race. You might see people diving up the inside into turn 15, or indeed if they're going into the pits, of course, they'll probably stick to the outside and then just brake very, very late, later than they would normally do if they were trying to make the corner, as we saw during a few abandoned qualifying laps there. But yes, of course, we've only got 20 or so seconds left in this warm-up session before we start to retune our focus on the race to come. We can also do a little bit more about the Teams Championship for those interested. Of course, potentially Grand Prix, 197 points to their name, 4 ahead of Hugh Performance and 19 ahead of HGP. There's a big gap to Emerald Hummingbird. They're on 103 points, about 94 off the lead. They are in 4th, about 3 points ahead of Bodal Racing Team in 5th, and they're equal Bodal on 100 points with KKR at the moment. So big scrap over P5 in the championship. Overpower about 22 points behind in P7. We've got CM Tech 9 points down on Overpower in P8. 6 points behind them is Gallery 82. Then we've got Skirr Cap Clay, 5 points down them, rounding out the top 10. Then a 22-point gap to Alpha Sierra Sim Racing, who are 3 points out of Team RS in 12th. Embers Performance are 13th, and they are a good, I think, 17 points down on Team RS. Then we got in 14th, 15th, we have got Excellion Motorsport, only 4 points to their name. 0-1 with just a 1 point, courtesy of Alexander Ragotza in the reverse grid race at Bahrain, where he snuck into 15th from the very back of the grid. Other than that, it's not been a particularly pretty finishing record. So 0-1, both their cars start near the back row as well today. Ragotza and Serrano will be hoping to get off of that bottom step of the team stable.
Exactly, and certainly they need to dust themselves down after a very difficult time of it in Jeddah. Not as bad, of course, as Melbourne, where both cars retired in both races. So a P21 for Ragotza in the feature race made sure that Pablo Serrano could, at least say, yeah, fair enough, at least one of our cars finished, but poor Pablo had a rough time of it with the double DNF. So that's what 01 Esports will need to worry about. Just make sure they can get their momentum building after a tough time of it 2 weeks ago. So Bahrain, big kinder to them, of course. So yeah, that's what matters now, just to pick up any finishes that they can. This track certainly is an unknown to anybody who has not been in GPVWC circles this decade. So that's one factor that can help bring a surprise, but I'm sure everybody will be familiar with Sepang in some form or another. It is a track that deserves another chance, I think, at a Formula One run or anything like that. It is sorely missed at times, but I know the weather, the monsoon season, was in its height, certainly in the March sort of window. The F1 came to town, so that was a bit of a damp squib, but yeah, hopefully one day Sepang can come back.
Well, Istanbul Park has come back, of course. That's another of those old classic sort of earlier Tilkodromes that's still relatively well received and well thought of. And I think Sepang is kind of a similar one, wasn't it? Yeah, that was actually it was the very first Herman Tilke one.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, opened 27 years ago in last month, so 7th of March 1999. And yeah, it's certainly had its fair share of fantastic Formula One races, MotoGP, of course, regulars there, but of course, very sadly, it's the site where Marco Simoncelli lost his life in 2011 as well. So, of course, that will forever be sort of part of the circuit's history. I think they stopped the F1 in 2018 here because of it was basically too expensive to host, and there were declining ticket sales as well. So it wasn't just about what the sort of unpredictable tropical weather that you would have in Sepang. Essentially, there was definitely other factors there as well. But of course, still very, very well represented in the world of sim racing and sort of just racing games in general. I'm surprised at the number it still pops up in. So it's definitely very, very popular for a good reason. And yeah, I think it's sort of one of those classic. It's sort of, I always look at Sepang and I always think of like basically the 2000s, essentially, when I was getting into Formula One. Sort of, it would always be essentially the second race on the calendar. And yeah, I always, for some reason, the race that I always think of is the 2009 one, where it just absolutely, there was a huge thunderstorm midway through the race. It just absolutely tipped it down. They red flagged it and they couldn't continue. It was, I think, the second shortest F1 race in history after, was it Adelaide 91? I'm thinking of, yeah, where they just had to reflect. Like, that was because the street circuit, whereas here,
yeah,
literally the drivers couldn't see what they were doing, and like there's the infamous Felipe Massa calling for the white visor, and Rob Smedley having to calm him down on the team radio on the grid, and then of course Kimi Räikkönen, his teammate, the exact opposite, just in the red flag break, going for an ice cream, knowing that there probably wasn't going to be a restart.
Yeah.
So yeah, all sorts of interesting little moments there as we see. Looks like the grid about to be set then. So let's go to a quick bumper, on the other side of which race one here in Sepang will get underway. So here we are then, 28 laps of racing action in our feature race to come here, and for the first time in the team's short history of Hugh Performance have locked out the front row with Alex Laho and his new teammate for this round, particularly Che Hatch. I'm sure Che will be very, very keen to get back in action. We know he's free on Thursday nights, so any Super League team that wants to really roll the dice, or indeed any FS1 team, will definitely be looking to hire the very, very experienced and very, very quick Englishman into their side, particularly based on this performance here. But of course, it's a long way to go here, and Jack Mayer will be waiting in the wings to take advantage then. So formation lap begins. Let's go through the grid order at this 5.5 kilometer circuit then. It is Laho and Hatch that lock out the front row, as mentioned, with Jack Mayer and Patrick Rozak forming row 2 for Potentia and Emerald Hummingbird. Row 3 is headed by Scott Flack and Dutchman Thijs Youngster, his best FS1 qualifying to date. Omari Watson and Lucas Filin make up row 4. On row 5, we have the two HGPs of Frank Hamming and Michael Francesconi. Row 6, Vodka Hoekstra and Victor Berner. I think that's Hoekstra's best qualifying of the season so far, as well for CM Tech. Row 7 is Menno Klont in the second Semtech with Stephen Lexo subbing in for company. Then on row 8, we have James Juba and Eunice Corrala. Row 9 is Wesley Stefano in MS Performance, leading the Team Iris car, Philip Koenig. Then we have Massimiliano Riboli and Michal Gauka on row 10. Row 11, that is Raymond van Sust and Christian Malcharek. Behind them we have Juho Soppanen filling in for Emerald Hummingbird and Pablo Serrano on row 12. Row 13 is Alexander Ragotza and Cedric Bill for Excellion. Back of the grid we have Damien Cardas, who is shown up here. So I think there's been maybe a grid penalty for Cardas that has promoted, I think,
right,
some of our runners. Yes. So that's carried over from Jeddah, I believe.
Yep.
Carter's currently in the pits, so yeah, we didn't see, I think Carter's doing very much at all in qualifying, so he definitely was just running out the clock until the race starts, and he thinks there's going to be a lot of carnage, so he may as well take advantage of his back of the grid and just start from the pit entry. Exit, rather.
At the exit, indeed, yeah.
You start from the pit entry, just giving yourself even more work to do. Anyway, through the final couple of corners come our front row now. Any quick thoughts, zone before we set off here? Alex Laho looking to dominate once again.
Yeah, he's got a phenomenal opportunity to do it. He has Che Hatch in support. But yeah, huge performance. It's a new experience for them to have both cars on the front row. But Jack Mayer knows how to disrupt dominant teams. He knows what it's like to be in dominant teams. So he has to figure out a way to try and divide and conquer. But of course, behind him, supreme drivers like Roshak, like Flack, and his teammate Watson there has to get through Youngstra, who has Buddle Racing looking pretty good. So yeah, lots can go on, but yeah, Lahu is the favourite as always.
So the red light's about to switch on then here at Sepang, and round 5 in Malaysia will get underway once they extinguish, and that happens right now then is all. Looks like Watson did not get a good getaway at all and has dropped several positions there, potentially outside of the top 15 there as everybody swerved to avoid him. Laho now is under attack from Mayer, who's made a great start, but Che Hatch conversely has lost 2 positions. Through goes Mayer and through goes Rozak as well, but Che Hatch just about holding on to P4's Youngstra has jumped Scott Flack there on the exit of turn 2, albeit briefly then, as we see some side-by-side action. That's one there. Alpha Sierra's then getting involved. I believe that's Victor Bernat going side-by-side with Menno Klont in between the 2 CM techs. There's Watson down to P16 then. So chaotic start for him, but for Alex Laho, he's just held on from his teammate, from Watson's teammate Jack Mayer then. So perfect start for Laho then, half a second in the lead, but Rozak and Mayer both getting through Che Hatch crucially.
Yeah, very important there to break through and get Lahu in a solo situation. We got a correction in the chat there. Damien Cardas didn't qualify, so he's forced to start in pit lane by not setting the valid time. So he just joined before the race began. So thank you very much for the update. But here's a look at Lexo looking to get KKR strong enough in the double top 15. Oh, it's going to be close here with Zubia. Beautiful pass there. Well judged there by James, and that allows an opening as well for Watson to try and redeem himself from stalling on the grid, and he has to try and sit back and get some slipstream. Yeah,
I also noticed in the background Kerala getting very, very sideways, essentially through kind of turn 11 on the exit. There's Watson up the inside of Stephen Lexo. Can he get past the German on exit here? He's certainly got the line. He might not necessarily get DRS because it's only lap 2, of course. Laho leading by nearly a whole second now over Jack Mayer, or about 7 tenths, I should say. Mayer's got the inside for turn 1, and Lexo is dropped outside of the points then. So Watson has got to pick these drivers off one by one. Next up is his countryman James Juba, just up the road in the second of our Bodal cars then, and he's trying to keep up with Vodka Hoekstra in front of him then. So that is really the day's work for Watson. You can see right ahead of him, he's got to try and sneak into the top 10 if at all possible. Maybe some clever strategy might be able to help him here. What tyres did Watson start? He was on the softs as well, so he needs to take advantage now. Juba, of course, another of our runners on the hards at the present moment. Rozak, interesting, in third, is also on hards, as indeed is Scott Flack. So it looks like the majority of runners actually going for the conventional soft hard strategy here.
Yeah, the majority are in favour of the soft to hard strategy that should get them just below the halfway point. But definitely Patrick Roshak, I'm very fascinated to see how he can get on here. Track temperatures are pretty solid, nothing too dramatic there. Track temperature 53 degrees Celsius in a dry day with air temperature 33 degrees Celsius. So it's about right for Sepang, not extremely hot, but definitely it will be felt on these rubber compounds as the race goes on. And Che Hatch needs to find a way back onto the podium here. Roshak on the harder compound will be a little bit vulnerable here. Jack Mayer sets a new fast lap, trying to close the gap on Lahu, but Hatch on the outside will get the inside for the second turn if he needs it. He's braked that little bit later. He is through, clean as a whistle. And that's a beautiful pass from the Englishman, getting himself back ahead of Roszak.
Yeah, not the easiest to overtake around the outside, but of course the softs are going to be working really, really well in these early laps here compared to the hard. So Roszak has got to play the long game here. Hopefully he can rely on going a bit longer into the race, and maybe once he switches to the softs later on, repass Che Hatch. But of course, plenty of strategy moves yet to play out. Next up, of course, Thijs Jongstra is right behind the Emerald Hummingbird driver and looking to punish the Polish man here as they go towards the middle sector here. So that's that double apex, essentially turns 7 and 8 there. Really, really easy to lose the back end, especially in these early laps when the car is still chocked full of fuel, essentially, for the full 28-lap feature race here. So you've got to be so careful when following the car in front that you don't lose traction in the dirty air, essentially getting too close there. But Jongstra playing it cool at the moment here, and the Dutchman definitely with a big point to prove, a chance at the top 4 here in his first FS1 race of the season.
Yeah, big shoes to fill in with Alex Gonzalez-Green, unable to attend. A championship contender, if he can rebuild his form after some brilliant races, particularly at Suzuka. But Jongstra, let's focus on him as he does go towards the side of the apex, not quite tight to the curb there, trying to get a better exit, and it won't be close enough. I'd imagine he'll have to commit very early here. Oh yeah, there's the block. Patrick Roszak not very charitable there, but Thijs through on the high side here, but he cannot make it through. And Tylene, we watching with interest as they get on. Scott Flack down some places from his qualifying. Menno Clant has taken P8 there, but of course I'd say he just defended his position for the moment. And Victor Burnett as well in the top 10 in the solo Alpha Sierra. Very impressive stuff. Frank Hamming just sitting idly by, waiting for his chance in P11.
Yeah, so Francesconi and Clant have now gotten through. You saw Flack actually in the background while we were watching Roszak and Jongstra was defending like crazy and had like almost 3 wide down the straight there for one moment there. So yeah, the overpowered driver really fighting to make this strategy work. Of course, it will pay out later on. This is sort of the inverse scenario that Flack found himself in Bahrain, remember, where he was he started on the subs, overtaking a lot of the front runners on the hards, and now it's sort of gone the other way. But once again, it's Scott Flack that has gone sort of contra to the conventional wisdom, it would seem, in this particular moment. Then Burnett, though, a little bit slow on exit there, so that's going to allow Frank Hamming, who's actually he's also on the hard on the same strategy as Flack and Roszak, just outside the top 10. As we see, is that Stefano going wide? Stefano started P17, made a great start, but is now lost out to James Juba for P12 here.
Yeah, turn 14 is that corner, in my opinion, at this circuit. If you get it wrong, then you've compromised the rest of your lap, and I'm sure the frustrations are building for Wesley there. Just needs to settle down, make sure the tires are cool enough here. Amari Watson will punish any mistakes, but thankfully the DRS is going to help out Wesley's case here for MS Performance. Down the inside it'll go. Amari Watson wants to pick the pocket as well of James Juba, and he's done it. A double overtake has taken place, and Scott Flack, he wants to stay in the top 10 as Victor Burnett's already through, but Frank Hamming has got better traction out of turn 3, and he's through as well, and that means Flack is losing positions hand over fist at the moment. Yeah, also we saw Raymond van Soest, I think, losing a couple of positions down to B26 further down, which was what the yellow flag was about there. But yeah, you can just see he is kind of a sitting duck into turn 1 and 2 where you really need the traction and grip. Scott Flack is just being absolutely mugged at the moment, and even Frank Hamming has got his hards to just work that a little bit better by just following Burnett through there. He's taken advantage, and meanwhile you also saw Watson very, very close to taking out Stefano there, because he was looking for every bit of grip and momentum on the inside that he could find, and yeah, to overtake James Juba there on the hards then. So that's the good news for Watson in this particular stint. He's on the softs, and hopefully he can clear Hamming and Flack relatively quickly, and that would get him into the top 10, as long as he can also clear Stefano in the process as well. Meanwhile, interestingly up front, Leho 2.1 seconds ahead of Jack Mayer, but Che Hatch starting to match and actually go 10th faster per lap than Jack Mayer, who's also 2 seconds in front of him, but he's pulled the gap to Roszak, who's still fending off Thijs Jongstra by about 0.3 of a second then. So
really it's our top runners where the strategy is going to make a big difference here. But look at this, Youngstra gets the DRS down the start-finish straight, and we're about to see Rozak get absolutely mugged himself into turn 1. Through goes Youngstra, and now Lucas Tylan is up the inside of him as well, and the Hummingbird just squeezed out there.
Yeah, Tylan gets a great exit there. It must be said, Rozak is the unfortunate member there up the turn
he's there
2.
as well.
Yeah, Francesconi, absolutely. HGP rooting for his cause. He's been a fantastic addition to the squad so far this season. Frank Hamming also getting involved here. Scott Flack, side by side they'll go. Turns 5 and 6. You've got to make a decision here how you're going to behave through these very quick turns. You won't feel it in these Formula cars, but Frank Hamming has got the job done, and he will be very pleased to see.
I think Hamming's held him off because he was already ahead, wasn't he?
Yeah, you're right, yes.
So we got our 2 hard tire runners starting to fight each other. That's bad news for everybody behind because it allows Burnett to escape a little bit here. So, yeah, Scott Flack has got to be sensible and assertive here. He needed to go for the move, of course, because he's basically on the same strategy in a direct fight with Frank Hamming at this point then. So effectively, this is about for P2 of those on the hard runners, but of course they're gonna filter out, you would assume, somewhere in the middle of this soft tire package again. Hamming gets a bit sideways into turn 14 there. The rear of that car not looking happy on the hards. So I did say they look to be functioning a bit better than Flax, but the hards now starting to work a bit better on that particular car. As now Filin fancies having to go Youngstra P4. As you can see, Rozak in the background still fending off Francesconi, who's now being backed into Menno Comp here.
Yeah, interesting to see how these fights are developing in our camera shot here. Double jeopardy there. Tylan gets the first move done. He needs to complete the other Rozak makes contact with Francesconi's rear right tire. Thankfully, his traction bit just hard enough to make sure he didn't slide, as of course the curb there will not offer a friendly grip when you're going sideways. It's meant to guide you along the circuit as you're driving normally, but yeah, thankfully the traction held up there for the Emerald Hummingbird, and Rozak on his harder tires for this first stint stays in the race in P7. So yeah, the curbs for the right side tires would have not been that friendly, but at least he was able to get back on the power just in time.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've got our essentially 4 runners in the points on the hards. Rozak, Flack, Hang, and Juba is just in there in P14 at the moment. But outside the points, we have Hoekstra, who started at P11 on the grid, has decided to sacrifice essentially track position in this stint, and he's leading a train of cars. It's a bit further down the pack. Gavka, Ripley, Kerala, Cardas, and Serrano all the way down to P23 then. But Vodka Hoekstra, of course, 1.3 seconds behind Ragoza's next car up. So you would think Hoekstra, by sort of staying out the fights, he might be able to go a bit longer on these hards. It'd be interesting how Simtech have set up both of their cars here, because Menno, of course, on the other strategy, starting on the softs, he's now going to be next to challenge Rozak, taking advantage of that contact. Francesconi, of course, really pulling out all the stops. We saw down the stairs being really aggressively squeezing in between the Emerald Hummingbird and the pit wall to get through in the first place, and then an even tighter squeeze into turn 1 as we see Filin and Youngstra continue to duel away. But Filin, now he's in 4th position, could well be a threat to chain Hatch in 3rd if he can pull away. Now side by side between Burnett and Hamming. Here we go. This is the fight for P10, and Victor Burnett squeezes through there. So Scott Flagg has actually gotten back into the top 9 in all of this, while Burnett and Hamming have been squabbling away. He's sneaked past the both of them.
Yeah, now the run up to turn 4 offers the opportunity for Burnett to keep working hard there, putting Hamming back down and out of the top 10. And Hamming would love to sweep back
Hamming's
ahead
got the
here,
inside.
side by side through the sweepers. And Burnett has to yield. He's going to understeer a bit harder though, but the curb on the outside will keep him in bounds. So that was courageous there, and Amari Watson had a front view seat or front row seat of that. But beautiful work there from the 2 drivers to cooperate at one of the most tricky sections of the track to race side by side. And the hairpin there for turn 9 will make this a bit of a single file for this part of the track. Oh, big understeer. That could be Watson's opening head. He's got to take it with open arms into the next right-hander. Oh, he's even done it before it.
Bernat had to lift off a little bit on the inside there to let him through, but yeah, that mistake halted his momentum, and Watson knew he absolutely had to go for that to prevent Hamming just disappearing to the distance on the other strategy, and Bernat punished even more for that mistake because here comes Stefano and Juba as well, closely in tow. Wesley Stefano looks to the outside. Does the Dutchman? He'll have to hang on to that one, but again, just cannot quite find the space, so he'll be in this DRS train once again. Bernat, of course, still getting DRS from the back of Watson, but he shouldn't be close enough to reassert himself. And look at them going side by side into turn one. Stefano's got the inside. Juba, goes right to the outside as Stefano had to take a bit to the grass there. Such is the defensive maneuver from Bernat. Now Juba will pinch his way past to Wesley Stefano if he can help it. Wesley Stefano losing up position to Stephen Lexo as well, who's into P14. So just holding on to the points is the MS Performance Man, but Bernat really struggling on those softs here, and the hard tar runners starting to take advantage.
Yeah, it's a bit of deja vu here as Juba doesn't quite pull off the Frank Hamming special there. Bit of traction let down there in the dirty air, but it's not too bad. But yeah, I love to see these different approaches to the first two corners, particularly when it goes three wide. What do you do when you're in the middle? Because you're not going to get either apex nails. You've got to think about the long-term play with two cars beside you for very slow corners. But yeah, beautiful driving from this gaggle of cars and drivers. I love to see it. Just see how everyone can deal with the situation at hand. And Philip Koenig, of course, is now in the outside shot of a point. He's closing the gap on Wesley Stefano there. Did lose a bit of time. Oh no, he had gained a bit of time there on the last lap, so he's closing handily on these cars, but he needs that little extra boost to get himself one championship point away off Wesley Stefano there. Through the final corner they shall go, and Youngstra, let's rejoin him, Ed.
Here we go, lap 10 of 28. We're sort of opening the pit window for the soft tire runners, and Youngstra uses DRS to retake fourth position from Lucas Fylan, but the rear tires starting to get away from him, and they're backing themselves almost into Francesconi, who's really pushed through the pack from 10th on the grid, hasn't he? And you can see here Fylan waiting for the opportunity to take revenge here, and you can also see on the hard tire runner Rozak starting to regroup here. The hard tire runners are starting to go, the soft tire runners are starting to go into the mid to high 141s, whereas Rozak looking rock solid in the sort of low 1 minute 42s, and Flack on the hard tires in the 1 minute 41.6s here. So we're getting to the crossover point here where some of the soft tire runners might be running a bit low on grip. And as we see, Fylan just going wide through 7 and 8 there. Really struggling to keep it on track. As Yellow's in Sector 2, somebody has gone off in a big way. Is it Serrano, I think? There he is. Oh, it's Stephen Lexo and Soppinen, sorry.
Soppinen. Yeah, he was towards the back of the field anyway. And that is just going to compound.
Is that car crabbing a bit? Oh,
yeah,
rear tire spinning up.
Yeah, let's try and figure out what happened. Up to turn 4 from this camera view. Pablo Serrano is following along with the Cap Clay. Yeah, single car spin there.
That was Tuamala he was trying to follow there. Yeah. Serrano goes offline, and Soppinen has an almost identical incident a couple of seconds down the road then. So just coincidence we saw them both drop at the same time.
Thankfully, both drivers are able to just dust themselves off and try again. Just unfortunate for both. They got caught by the same camera shot, basically. Hopefully that suspension didn't get upset by some flat spotting, I'd imagine.
Tiling back past Youngstra as we look at our race leader, nearly 4 seconds ahead of Jack Mayer.
Bernat concedes his position in 13th, and he goes into the pit lane. Amari Watson versus Frank Hamming for P10 and 11 at the moment. That's super close. Bit misleading camera there, but now we'll see how close they really are. Up the hill they'll go. Watson has the option to go down the inside. He's offered himself down that line, and he's got to try and beat Hamming at his own game here. Going to take the high side and sweep closer to the HGP, but not this time. Making sure these tires can last to the required target pit stop lap. But yeah, we know Victor Bernat has got us underway with pit stops in the point scoring positions. So he's now down in 26th position as Soppinen is boxing himself there.
Yeah, so Bernat will be relying on a bit of an undercut here to gain track position. He's got plenty of clear air, luckily. But yeah, you saw that battle with Hamming and Watson. Of course, they're fighting for second in the championship at the moment behind Alex Lahoe. So neither of them wanting to give any of them an inch. But of course, Hamming still struggling a bit on the hards, whereas Watson has still got a little bit of grip left in the softs there. But of course, Hamming doing his traditional line through 5 and 6, where he always gets to the inside first. And that prevents any kind of counter attack there. As we see Francesconi now next to challenge ties Youngstra, as Lucas Farland starting to pull away a little bit here.
Now this is important now to see how Youngstra does with this ability to keep up with Tylene, but no, it's Francesconi on the inside line into turn 1. That looks absolutely clean and serene. This is fantastic news for HGP. They're starting to enjoy themselves now before required pit stops. So Francesconi leading the way in the top 5, and he's got to try and get closer to Tylene before the counter attack is thrown at him by his fellow I suppose the countryman to the team HGP. Youngstra needs to try and pick off this Italian charger, but he's fallen quite far ways back here.
Yeah, fastest first sector of the race for Rozak. It's he's sort of matching the times of Francesconi on the softs, interestingly, despite starting on the hards. So Rozak's hards starting to come into their own here, and Youngstra could well be ascending that. So this is where Rozak not only will he be taking advantage now as the soft type runners desperately try to extend to sort of match his stint length ever so slightly, trying to give themselves a fighting chance one day themselves switch to the hards, but also he's got the softs to look forward to as well. Once the pit stops come, he can sort of pick when he wants to pit as well. The only trouble is he could well find himself being a bit undercut by the likes of Bernat here and anybody else who pits early on as well. But yeah, nobody else pitting quite as early as Victor Bernat, interestingly, although we expect next couple of laps we're going to see the majority of the soft tire runners come in.
Yeah, we're going to watch and wait. Yeah, there's a box for Youngstra's in, and I think there might have been a Clont as well.
Yeah, Menno.
Youngstra and Clont are both into the pits. That'll help their teams to figure out what they can do next. And Youngstra now, yes, go all the way down. Clont gets an earlier stall there. Youngstra already aggressively pointing towards the exit, so we'll see how this battle on the pit lane goes. The top 15 are all back ahead. Youngstra was released safe and sound. He'll maintain position against Clont.
Yeah, important one. Beware does Bernat filter out into all this. There's Youngstra getting onto the circuit, still ahead of Menno. Bernat still down in P25, I think, so he's gotten ahead of Kerala, and he gets Hexo as well. So actually, Bernat there not gaining a whole lot on the hard tires. Maybe he set, let's see, he did set a 141.1 that on that first sort of flying lap coming out of the pits, essentially, or second flying lap, I should say, because he did pit a couple laps earlier than everybody else, didn't he? So it's not really worked out all that well for Bernat here, and he's still got Serrano to clear. He's about 4 seconds behind him before he can focus on sort of keeping up with Menno and Youngstra here. And for Menno, it made sense to pit because he'd spent most of that first stint stuck behind Rozak, knowing that he didn't quite have the grip on the softs to really make a move there. So it sort of makes sense to cut his losses.
Yeah, I suppose it would now. He has the safety in the knowledge that he can just drive to the best of his ability now and see what comes out of it. And Exo he'll pass on that intel to Lucas, I'm sure. More cars pitting, and Amari Watson, the up and down experience for him today.
Tylene as well.
I want to get rid of these tires, and Tylene has, yes, perfect timing there for KKR in their ambitions to finish with a flourish here to get a top 5 for the Super Swede. Francesconi also in the pits there, so HGP will get some extra knowledge for the owner-driver.
It'll be crucial to see if Tylene can get out ahead of Tyus Youngstra here, as Watson, he has been serviced out of the pits. They come, and Tylene, I think, should still be ahead. Oh, there is Youngstra, yes, though. Just diving up the inside to keep ahead of that MS Performance car. Raymond Van Sust, of course, is yet to pit then. And that's Van Sust in between himself and Francesconi, and then Menno Clont waiting in the wings there. So, yes, it'll be crucial then for Francesconi to clear Raymond as quickly as possible here. And that MS Performance could be a bit of a fly in the ointment, but will absolutely help Youngstra then as he focuses on catching up to the back of Tylene. So, it's basically as they were.
Very helpful scenario there for Tice. So we'll see how he can keep pulling away there. But Vance's just minding his own business. He's got to try and work together with Wesley Stefano to pick up points if possible, or else regroup for race 2. A lot of curb use there, the underside sparking there for Wesley, but it's absolutely fine. He's just carrying on pretty comfortably at the moment, lapping 142.5 last time out. In the bits for race leader and runner-up so far, it's Lahu versus Mayer. The gap should be about 3 seconds or 2.5 seconds. So, and Clay, there's a look at Shay Hatch there as well coming into the pits. So double stint or double box, perfectly timed there. Beautiful double stint there, double stack for Shay Hatch as well, and that allows the team to just get that out of the way. So beautifully done. Shay Hatch should be delighted with that.
I was wondering who Clay was for a second. Never.
Okay. It's one of those errors.
No.
Like, don't say Clay, and you end up.
Oh, it's because there's Cap Clay as well. Yes.
Yes.
And then Shay Hatch.
Yes.
God, let's hope Shay Hatch doesn't end up driving for Skid Area Cap. Right?
Yeah, that'll be
that would be.
Sorry, Shay. Really
Skid Area Cap Shay. Yeah. Anyway, out of the pits they all come, and it's where it gets a little bit mixed up. Frank Hamming again, side by side with Omari Watson in the battle for what is currently P14, but still a number of drivers yet to pit off at the hard tire, and Maltrack carried on the soft as well. Majority of the running on the hards at the moment. Filing side by side with Shay Hatch. He's trying to undercut him. He's got the inside for turn 5. And there we go. Crucial move for the Super Swede. Filing in the mix for the net podium now that he's cleared. The man who was running in third, Shay Hatch, needs to get these hards working well underneath him, because Youngstra is also waiting to pick him off as well if he's not careful.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this is where things really do pick up here in FS1 when the brand new tires are booted on. How do you react when your tires are cold, but the opposition have tried something a little bit different? That's how you separate yourself as a great here in Formula 1. So let's see.
With the gap to Flack, it's gone from 2 seconds to tenths or something like that. Flack has absolutely been biding his time really well. We saw losing positions early in the stint, but as people hit, Scott Flack has really come away here. Still lapping consistently at 146.9s. Patrick Rose last at 142.2, 3 temps slower actually.
Yeah, a very impressive middle portion of the race here for Scott Flack after some combat situations worked against him and some actually worked for him. And now he has a chance to go for the brief temporary lead here against Patrick Roszak.
Shay Hatch back ahead of Filing.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. If he can make it stick, he's going to be aggressive, using the tires to box his way through there. Beautiful move from Shay, and that will give Tylene something to think about up to the sprint up the hill. And watching him behind there, Damien Cardas, bit of a surprise. See this from his back of the pit lane penalty, or front of the pit lane penalty. And he's actually
That's not Cardas, that's Youngstra.
It's Youngstra, sorry. Yeah, Youngstra's come into the play there. So,
yeah, there's about 6 seconds to Cardas. It's all Hamming to the outside,
Hamming,
Watson. Wow. Bolt. This to be the one that Frank Hamming likes the most, isn't it?
Yeah, it's his favourite sequence of corners, and he's proven it once again on what to do. Purple middle sector for Jack Mayer as he tries to claw the time back to Alex Lahu there. So Cardas just miles ahead on his journey to the pit lane soon enough, and Roszak will commit to the pits. So that will leave Scott Flack as the sole runner there in the lead. James Juba has a bit of a gap there in the bottle, so we'll see how he gets on what I imagine be his last lap on the set of tires. And Lahu gets the honours of the fast lap there. Jack Mayer then takes it back off him. So Jack Mayer breaks into the 139s, fantastically so. From Englishman there. Beautiful work.
Mayer was quicker than Lahu, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
So Rozak and Cardos both pit on lap 16. That's sort of where we expected the first of the hard tap runners to pit as Youngstra to the outside of Fylan. That is bold into turn 1 there. So maybe Fylan and Che Hatch have a bit of damage from basically hitting each other on the previous lap, and Youngstra taking advantage in. So brilliant stuff from the Bodal race team. Lorenzo Turovic is going to be pleased with that, but doesn't look like Lucas Fylan has done quite yet. He positioned himself to the outside for turn 4. Youngstra goes over the curb on the inside and covers him off then. So now he is going to escape and hope Fylan and Hatch just dual wave each other, and Francisco is getting up to the back as well. Look at Youngstra just absolutely sprinting away now.
Absolutely stunning work there to make this opportunity at a top 5 count, and poor old Che Hatch just has to worry about the other drivers with that little bit extra experience in FS1 machinery, who will be in and around them now, confident that they can follow their strategies to the end. But a very, very impressive debut here from Hatch, if he can keep this going. Frank Hamming, personal best last time out, so he will try and close down Clon soon enough. If he can carry on this form, then yeah, it will be very possible for Hamming to get even closer to his teammate. But at the moment, we've got a single file on the back straight here, but Thailand wants to get his way back ahead of Youngstra. But we have the pits for Juba and indeed Scott Flack as well. He's finished up with his hard tar stint, and he'll try the softs until the end to make up these places again.
Yeah, Patrick Rozak, by the way, is pit and come out about 2/10 behind Omari Watson. But here we go, Fylan going for P4 yet again. He's got the inside. Surely Youngstra will have to concede that one. And all this play to the hands of Francisconi, who's got the slightly fresher hard tyres, and I think the Prix ahead of him, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, Rozak will be looking to catch up Waller. He's now just got past Watson, and Scott Flack has come out the pits just behind Watson as well. So those two will be the danger men in this final part of the race in these last 10 laps then. But for Alex Laho up front, he just got to keep matching the times. Jack Mayer last lap, he's the 1:39.8, half a second quicker than Mayer's time there. Mayer back to just over 3 seconds behind then. So that P1, P2 battle is going to continue as this P3 fight against Fylan, Youngstra, Hatch, Francisconi, Clont, Hamming, Rozak, Watson and Flack. It's just going to carry on like rats in a sack, I guess.
Yes, without a doubt. So we're very interested to see how Flack can do when his first proper lap in anger.
Ooh, purple sectors for Rozak.
Yeah.
He's really flying at the moment, and he's got to, because with the problem is you've only got so much time in the race to make these moves, and they're almost certainly going to fight to hold him off.
Ain't that the truth? So Juho Stoppin in the other car has decided to retire. He's the first retirement of the day. Frank Hamming on the inside here on the back straight, and he's already through before he needs to slow down for the hairpin. He's not at all concerned about the beginning of the apex. His corner exit speed is very good, up to 230 kilometers an hour. So not a concern there in that battle. So beautiful pass from Hamming. But Che Hatch also figuring out a way through against Youngstra. Clean as you like there, beautifully done. So now the overtakes are coming thick and fast. We have Roshak fast lap there, 139.1. And Scott Flack, he knows how to run a quick final sector. And full speed Wopke Hoekstra as well. He's looking to make the move against Bernat, and he has completed it. But Philip Koenig, now in 17th, he wants to try and regain that place, as Juba, of course, went long. And the bottle down the inside, and that was unstoppable. Bernat had no response to that whatsoever, so that will allow Philip Koenig. Oh no! I couldn't finish the sentence. He's understeered, but he has saved himself before the gravel trap swallowed up that Team Iris. So thankfully, turn 5 had a little bit of care for Koenig, so he's still in the race.
Koenig, I think one of those on the hards, if I'm not mistaken. So him and Bernat on the sort of similar strategy here, but this is Bernat having pit so early. Not really getting the undercut that he'd hoped for, now starting to suffer that because he's basically easy pickings for some of the soft type runners like Hoekstra and Juba there. As we now cut back to Frank having cleared Menno. Unfortunately, Rozak has now set the fastest lap and cleared Menno himself in short order, as Menno now has got to worry about Watson and more importantly Flack on the soft tyres catching up to both of them then. So this will be really, really interesting to see. I think Hamming is another of those on the soft. Oh yeah, because of course he did start on the hards as well. So he is pit the earliest of the hard tire runners to go for the softs, and that's why they're lapping really well at the moment. He gets side by side with Ty's Youngstra and should comfortably make the move to the RS into turn 1. But look in the background, Watson trying to fight past Flack and Clont at the same time, and I think Flack has picked both of them off for side by side. Hammond got the inside on. That looks like Patrick Rozak there, who's picked them both off.
Yeah, in fairness to Scott Flack, that highly anticipated lap was 1:39.5, not the fastest lap, but a personal best. So that's going to help him catch right up to Menno Clont here within half a second at the moment. Can't quite peak the camera shot.
I think Flack didn't quite make it through because he's still behind Watson.
Yeah, he's still behind. You're absolutely right. Yes.
I thought he was going to make the move on Menno there, but I think Menno may have just fended him off. Maybe with a little bit of defensive driving there. Maybe there's something we missed on the replay, and let's have a look. So here's the move. Flack is on the outside of Watson here on the run into someone. Watson, of course, and Flack have both got DRS. They go either side of Menno Clont. Is there a bit of contact? Clont into the back of Flack there. So that will cost Flack some time. But luckily, he's still got pretty decent tyres. He might still be able to retake that position in a lap or two. But Menno could be in a little bit of trouble for that one.
Yeah, so he's committed to his line in the middle. And yeah, he just didn't realise that Flack was going to run it around the outside like that. He made the point a little bit ago, where if you're in the middle in the 3 wide into the first hairpins, it is the most difficult scenario of all. And unfortunately for Clont, he may get sanctioned for that. Not much he could have done differently, but yeah, definitely a case where Flack was
back up the inside into third on Filin.
Very Che, beautiful pass, but he's got to defend it now for all that effort, as Tylene is ready to stick it down that outside. He's got the DRS already, and Hatch has to yield for the first corner at least. Maybe try and pick it through the left-hander. No, he can't do it. So Francesconi with his own lap time there. A new PB for the Italian as well there, 140.322, has given Che something to think about as he goes up the hill to turn 4 with a bit of a plum there, but not enough to make the pass. Scott Flack, he's back running again to 143.899. Goes to show how much time he lost. He's quick again in the first sector.
Yeah, I think Victor Burnett has hit trouble. He's fallen right to the back of the grid at him. So the hard's really... Oh, there we go. He's crashed in the pit lane and lost both front and rear wings then. So that's terrible luck for Alfa Sierra. Their sole car in the race. Looks like it could be on its way to retirement then with 7 laps to go. And that's a big shame for a day that it started so well. Then he's even gone, ironically, over to the first place board. But I don't think that's going to really mean anything other than trying to recover his ego, if anything. But let's see what happened here. Into the final corner. Flack, that is the second overpower that's just ahead of him, isn't it? Oh, nearly hits the back of him. Goes really deep and just completely loses it on the entry then. And I think he's just gotten frustrated and hit the wall.
He realizes his race over, yeah. So,
oh, there we go.
Yeah, there's the big spin. Or, well, a big spin. He must have done it again. So here we go.
The rear is just absolutely shot.
They're gone. Yeah, there it is. There's the spin. So multiple errors there. So that's heartbreak there for Alfa Sierra, their sole competitor today. Out of the race, pretty much. Victor doing burnouts there. Here comes Rozak inside of Francesconi. 3 wide. Oh, and Hatch hit into from the outside there. Almost nowhere to go from that point of view. But there we go. Rozak 2 into 1. He's up into 4th there by playing it risky. He is making the moves when it matters. If he can clear Filing quickly, 6 laps to go. Could he maybe catch Jack Mayer? I don't know. I think it's a bit of a long shot, but what a performance this has been in this second stint so far. Yeah, it's really a case of first in a league of his own, second in a league of his own, and then the podium is wide open. And poor old Che will say, I no option there but to commit myself. So I was just unlucky the way that played out. But yeah, credit to Patrick Rozak for sticking to his guns there, making the opportunity count. And now he has the chance to break free. At the moment, yeah, it looks like Tylene is just going to try his best to put each of these drivers off somehow. He's just got to do his utmost to defend, particularly down this back straight. That'll offer the first chance to gain a lot of slipstream. But what has to be done next is anyone's game here. How you can keep defending in 1v1 situations, it's something that boggles my mind. But when you're that talented a driver here in FS1, you've got to think of something, and I'm sure Tylene can work his very, very hardest to keep himself on this podium.
Yeah, remember, of course, everybody's sort of thinking with half a mind on that reverse grid draw as well. Scott Flack at the moment just outside it, needs to pass Menacle in the background, but Frank Hamming here needs to catch up to his teammate Francesconi on the other strategy here, and it's Che Hatch that's in the way. So this could be really interesting if Frank Hamming can get the exit. He needs Francesconi, could potentially even slow down, be used to slow down Che Hatch so that it could make it easier for Frank Hamming to get through, and then Francesconi could, of course, on the more worn hard tyres, would in theory have not much ability to hold Frank Hamming up. As we see up front, you can see Rozak really starting to get his teeth out, ready to chomp into Lucas Fylan with these fresher soft tyres here, and Fylan having to drive out of his skin. You can see the gap to Mayer up ahead is about 14 seconds then, so I think realistically Rozak is not really in a fight for P2, he's in a fight for P3 against Fylan, as you say here. But this is going to run and run. Flack, by the way, did get through on Menocont down the start-finish straight with DRS. So Flack into P10, crucially, and to chase Watson on the hard tyres then. So remember, Rozak, Hamming, Flack, all on the softs here. Juba as well in P12, whereas everybody else here on the hards.
Yeah, that's it now. So good balance. The hard tyres are dominant, of course, but yeah, good to see reasonable attempts to go off strategy. And that has proven successful for about 6 cars here in the top 15. 5 laps remaining, and this is absolutely Patrick Roszak's chance now. Tylene, good corner exit though. Roszak looks a little bit exposed here, so he's got to try and get that DRS boost to help him out there. Francesconi so close, but he's got to wait to see what happens, and Roszak commits very late. So the DRS really proving its weight in gold here. Roszak through. Francesconi also eager to have a look here, but he's better off just hitting the curb and nailing his exit here. But wonderful work yet again from Emerald Hummingbird. Patrick Roszak back on the podium. Oh, Watson! Wow, that was close against Thijs Jongstra. But thankfully, yet again, those cars stay in the correct direction. But yeah, Roszak once again has his chance to solidify this podium. Good defense from Tylene. You had to see it to believe that dive down the inside, so committed and so impressive to make that work. So that's how difficult it was to pass Tylene, but he's got to maintain position, Ed, or else he'll be all for nothing.
Yeah, I think Rozak already starting to pull ahead here on the softs then. So now it's a case of Fylan, Francesconi and Hatch versus Hamming. Hamming on the slightly older soft tyres, because since he was the first to pit from the hard tyres onto the softs of those on that alternate strategy. And then Scott Flack still about 1.4 seconds behind Watson, trying to catch him for P9, as Watson is right in the thick of things with Youngster, as we just saw. A bit of contact there. These FS1 cars are built pretty tough, because we've seen quite a number of wheel banging and sort of side-to-side, quite physical action here, and both cars have lived to tell the tale. So, we saw for Paul, I think only really Paul Soppinen and Bernat, the 2 retirements from this race so far. So certainly compared to street track like Jeddah, a bit more clean, as we see Hamming now trying to go up the inside of Hatch through the final corner, and Che Hatch gets the slightly better exit, as you see in the background. Youngstra defending for Watson yet again, and that is allowing Scott Flack into the mix too. Now here we go, the HDP looks to the outside, and Che Hatch almost a little bit boxed in here behind Francesconi, as the rookie is stepping out on Hamming. Has he got enough life in the tyres to pull this move off? I think he's still stuck on the outside, and Che Hatch slots the Hugh Performance ahead of him.
But it's not done yet. Up the hill they go, a little bit of slipstream courtesy of Francesconi. Certainly not deliberate, as Francesconi has his own fight to worry about. But great coincidence there.
Oh, yellow in sector 2, Juba and Watson in trouble. Watson spins.
Watson with the spin there. He's back down into the regions of the top 15 here. So he does have 2 points for 14th now, as he's back under full acceleration. We're going to see what happened here as they get to work up to turn 4. So there we look
is it
at
Flack?
Juba.
Oh, he's for the move on Youngstra. It's so Youngstra sort of made contact there, then had a half spin. So Flack making back both positions after making contact with those 2 earlier in the race then. But yeah, really unlucky race for Watson, really from start to finish, it must be said.
You're right there. Youngstra just defending his line, unfortunately just led to the contact, and Scott Flack has benefited nicely from that. He's got the freedom now of P8, he's ahead of the bottles, absolutely no concern to look behind in the mirrors. A little bit more generosity needed to actually gain any more positions. But there's a look now at Juba, who's now ahead of his teammate. So
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Juba on the softs, of course. Youngster on the hards.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. So Francesconi, he wants to get the best of the rest award here off Tylene. He's halfway there. Tylene won't give up. He's used as much of the curb as he possibly could. Wheel to wheel clashes there. Francesconi, better corner exit. He's got the clearance now. He can pull in. But now look at Che Hatch. Che Hatch has a chance as well. But no, it's Tylene to block. But Frank Hamming will be rearing his teammate on now. The HGP sandwich has a very, very interesting condiment here with the contrasting experience here. Tylene and Hatch with the opportunity to really shine today with the reverse grid at stake. Look at this.
That's bold.
Exceptional work there from Hoekstra to make that count. So Watson only has 1 point to shout about. So definitely Hugh are back on top of the team's championship on this current form here, as Hatch, by being ahead of Watson by that amount of points, will definitely buffer Lahu and Mayer there. So that would be a 5-point difference. That'd be enough in its own, of course. But the fact that Hatch on course for a top 6 at least, unless Frank Hamming can stop him, then it will be due performance to overcome that 4-point deficit and pull clear.
Yeah, also big shout out to Alexander Ragots, who's gone from, I think, the back row of the grid to P13 in this race on the hard tyres at the moment as well. So he's done the conventional strategy. He's just followed Stephen Lexo in this second part of the race then, and has done so very, very effectively indeed, as we cut back to Frank Hamming, trying to get just a little bit more out of these softs, as all half move from Hatch. Him and Phelan, of course, have clashed already once in this race. Just this lap and one more to go. But is Che Hatch going to get another chance at him before Frank Hamming gives a go? And here goes Ragotza having a go at Lexo. He's waiting for the chance, and he's up to P12 as side by side between Hamming and Hatch. Which of the H's will come out on top? It's Hatch to the outside. That becomes the inside for turn 5, and the Hugh Performance Band holds firm in P6 then, as you can see Phelan desperately trying to break away from these two in the process. So Hamming this time not quite getting advantage into 5 and 6, and you can see in the background Flack pushing like crazy to catch the both of them.
Yeah, points for 0-1 Esports as things stand should get them narrowly ahead of Excellion. So this is fantastic news if Ragoza can maintain this form. Hamming with a big step out there with the rear
tires are going
out of the hairpin. So yeah, this is now the disadvantage of the hard to soft strategy, because you've got to work the softs to the bone, or the rims basically, to make this strategy work. And now we'll see the hard tires start to consolidate position now. So Hamming one last chance just to make himself known to Hatch. But yeah, there's the trouble now. The soft tires at the rear are gone, so these low speed corners in particular are going to be a threat if he steps on the accelerator too early. So last lap well underway for Lahu, but teammate Che Hatch just has to watch his mirrors. He's got a fantastic debut result within reach, but Tylene wants back in P4 Ed. Can he do it into turn 2?
Well, he's gone deep around the outside, all wheel-to-wheel contact there. That puts Phelan a little bit loose on the outside. And Michael Francesconi using every inch of his experience to hold on for HGP at the moment. They need to maximize what they can get out of this race to keep Hugh and Potentia in range. They came in 19 points behind, remember, and look how close behind Phelan is as well into turn 4. But this is, of course, the final lap. Even the hards ever so slightly starting to struggle here. But as for Alex Lahoe, 6 points in second ahead of Jack Mayer, 7 seconds now. He has just absolutely played this perfectly, and Mayer has not really been able to touch him, despite putting in a clear best of the rest drive behind. As Phelan just gets a little bit skateboarded onto the curb there. But of course, Rozak, the only driver to really make this alternate strategy work, from hards to softs, about 2.6 seconds up the road. But here we go. One corner left to go for Alex Lahoe, and he is going to take what should be, at long last, his 7th win of the season, if I'm not mistaken. To the line he comes, and victory in race 1 here in Sepang goes to Alex Lahoe. The Frenchman extends his championship lead to over 90 points now. in the championship. May even well be 100 points. Mayer is going to finish P2. Rozak 13 seconds down in P3, but who will be P4? Filing to the inside, all just held off by Francesconi then, so it'll just be this run to the line to decide for 5th and 6th.
Yeah, win number 7 out of a possible 9 for Lahu. Thailand takes the P5, but Francesconi has to be very pleased with that performance. David Cardas versus Watson. Oh my goodness, this would be very impressive for the Gallery 82 car if he could make the pass, but it just wasn't quite available to him. But yeah, heck of an effort there for Damien, who took the pit lane start as a result of not entering qualifying. So to come from the back of the pack and miss out on a point by only a few tenths of a second, that is absolutely fantastic. But we still have work to do here, as Jonas Corrala is trying his best to catch up to Cedric Bill as the final classified finisher. So at the moment he's just too far back, Ed. It won't pay off this time, but at least Corrala can say he got the Cap Clay all the way to the checkered flag. There we go, beautiful.
And yeah, of course, Corrala, winner in race 1 in FS2 on Tuesday, of course. So it's a nice little boost for Cedric Bill. They were able to just beat him home, despite both of them having slightly messy races near the back of the grid, it must be said then. But yeah, every lap counts in FS1, and that's certainly going to help the both of them. But confirmation that the final results, 28 laps completed from the front runners. It is Alex Laho who goes pretty much lights the flag in the lead there. I think the only time he lost the lead was in the pits when Flack and Rozak briefly led for a couple of laps each. Jack Mayer will take P2 for Potentia. A couple of times he matched Lowe's lap times, but towards the end fell from about 3 seconds behind the pit stop to 7.5 seconds by the checkered flag. Patrick Rozak fighting through the field on the softs near the end on the alternate strategy, got through to P3. Francesconi triumphing in that 4th place battle in the end against Filin, Hatch and his teammate Hamming, all of them trading a few blows here and there, and Hamming just about holding onto the rear tyres at the end. Scott Flack, despite being tapped into the little half spin by Menno Klont, still gets home in P8, and rounding out our top 10 and our first grid draw positions will be the 2 Bodal Racing Team cars of James Duper P9 and Thijs Youngstra. Youngstra very unlucky how the race ended despite a fantastic qualifying. In P11, Menno got home in that position with Stephen Lexo P12. Vopke Hoekstra made a late move actually on Ragotza to take his 3rd P13 and 3rd points finish of the season. Ragotza for 0-1 gets another 2 precious points for the German squad. And then Omari Watson, a race to forget for him, down in P15. He takes the final point, just holding on from Damien Cardas, who started, of course, from the pit lane. It's a great drive by Damien. Philip Koenig will take P17 ahead of Michel Galka. Then it's Wesley Stefano, another what could have been a race for Wesley. And Steve round out top 10. 20. Sorry about that. Was Brett Van Sust. Serrano got home in 22nd, just ahead of Cedric Bill. And our final finisher was Jonas Corrala. Sadly, not making it to the end was the overpower of Massimiliano Boli to burn. We saw doing a burnout bench recreation in the entry, and then sadly early spin was a little bit too far down, so the Emerald Hummingbird will bring better luck. 2. Wow, well, exciting race 1, particularly in that 3rd place onwards fight then. But yeah, race 2 to come, and our reverse grid draw crucially, so we'll have to see who in between Che Hatch and Thijs Youngstra gets the luck of the draw then. But until then, we're going to go on a fairly short break, the other side of which we'll be back for our second 19-lap race here in Sepang. Don't go anywhere.
Inside a place of... On the next pretzels. Kelty seat, the coffee beanery, Tyrek.
Flat out. Oh no! Oh no! Who's round? It's Magnussen. Oh, it's going to be a touch moment. It's in the barrier. Oh, they spun. Oh, it's a carnage.
And Menno Klont's going to win.
God. It's a double pass. Could they take each other off? They don't. And Flack slide. It's a victory for the Tuties.
They touch. They're now. Oh no!
Soriano's gone around and met the wall. Mitchell will go through.
As they go uphill into turn 4. Oh, around the outside. What a fabulous move.
Frelick will use all of his as well. Here he comes. He makes a move. They touch. They run wide. And Munio's going to get it. We're going 3 wide. Look at Tyne. Contact. Oh my goodness. Tyne has lost a wheel.
Time's out.
The dramatic race that we were teeing up the entire time has come to an end.
Hello and welcome back to the Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia for round 5 of the 2026 Formula Sprint 1 Championship. Race 1 is already in the books, won by who else but Alex Laho by a good 7.5 seconds from our 2023 champion Jack Mayer, with of course Patrick Rozak rounding out the podium. But it is we've just had our call in for the reverse grid, Eoin, who's of course alongside me in commentary, along with Fabian Jungbluth on broadcast direction. So Eoin, yeah, who is it? It could be a really interesting race if it's the full top 10 reversed.
Yeah, it is actually. It's Thijs Jongstra on the reverse grid pole position here. So Bodil, with their new temporary recruit for Alex Gonzalez Green, has picked up his
That's a
golden
front
ticket.
row then, because Juba was
exactly.
P9. So yeah, we had a Hugh performance front row in race 1, and now we have a Bodil front row. So unusual front rows. It must lockouts. It must be said. And of course, Bodil, Thijs Jongstra with that brilliant qualifying at P5 on the grid, has now got a sort of second chance to show what he can do. And we saw even Frank Hamming, the softs falling away on him near the end there, at the end of his stint. So with the race being just slightly too long, I think, for a lot of the soft tire, are we just going to see everybody run on the hard tires in this second race of the day? Or if you're a Thijs Jongstra, might you consider going on the softs, maybe either keeping the softs alive, try and get to the end, or build a gap, pit into it, and then do a couple of overtakes to take back, get back maybe into a competitive position here?
If anyone wants to gamble, yeah, it probably would be one of the drivers in the top 5, because if you're 11th or below, then it's going to be too difficult to make up those places, despite the freedom to overtake around Sepang. I know Jonas Corrala, he shared his front tire data at the end of his stint, and they were extremely badly worn down tires. So yeah, will not be using softs, I can guarantee that much, in this reverse grid race. So yeah, Jonas Corrala showed his hand, and I'm pretty confident he will not be taking anything except hard tires for this race. But yeah, maybe some of the top 5 will be tempted, but Bodil will be very grateful for a high score here in their battle against Emerald Hummingbird. So yeah, definitely there'll be cooler heads prevailing, I'd say, with Lorenzo's team there, just to try and pick up as many points as they can. Of course, KKR are very close to them as well. Their 100-point tied score will be broken for the time being, of course. Tylene trying his best to get on the podium, just wasn't quite to be, but nevertheless he's raring to go for another try. Bodil, this is their chance now to build upon Gonzalez Green's template in the first 2 rounds of the season, where he was absolutely flying, and the best of the rest behind Lahoo about a month ago at this stage. But yeah, time moves fast here in GPV.
Yeah, it certainly does. 1 second at a time is fast enough for all of us, I think. But there we go. So let's, of course, we'll put Juba alongside on the front. It also puts Scott Flack into P3. I think Flack has definitely got to be one of the danger men. Frank Hamming, our most recent reverse grid race 2 winner from Jeddah, he will start in P4. And then Che Hatch P5, of course, with Lucas Filan for company behind him. And behind that, our top 4 from race 1 are Francesconi, Rozak, Mayer, and Laho. And then Clont, Lexo, Hoekstra, Ragosa, Watson. So, yeah, Watson, another one, could try something a little bit different to try and make his way through the pack here from 15th on the grid. And for the sake of Potentia getting back into the lead of the team's championship, Watson has got to have a clean run in this second race.
Without a doubt, yeah. From second, number 1, it was already trouble for Watson. He was caught out at the start. He stalled on the grid, fell all the way back to about 13th place. And then after working his way up, he had that contact with the bottle of Jongstra and ended up in a spin at turn 4. He recovered as best he could, but he fell all the way down to P15. So that's the challenge now for Mari, to rescue this evening's racing and help out his teammate Jack Mayer, the lonely runner-up, has to be said. Clean drive from Mayer, getting a brilliant start, but he couldn't stop Lahoo's momentum, and he's going to have to work very hard as well, Jack Mayer, to try and finish on the podium again to keep up that fantastic streak you mentioned earlier, Ed.
Yeah, it's certainly possible, but they will have to manage this race very, very wise, especially because this isn't like, if it was just the top 6 reversed, it would be a much easier proposition for the likes of Laho and T.B.A, whereas now they've got an extra sort of 4 cars ahead of them, essentially, starting 9th and 10th then. So it's going to be really fascinating to see how they manage it. And this, we saw how much Laho really struggled to do his usual slicing for everybody and winning easily reverse grids that we've gotten so used to seeing from Suzuka and Bahrain in Jeddah. And this could be another one where Laho, it is going to be really, really challenging to see him win this one. So I think it's going to be difficult for Laho to build up another winning streak, but he could well yet sneak onto the podium.
Yeah, drivers have been summoned to our grid slots. So let's have the build up now to the reverse grid race here at Sepang.
There we go. Thank you very much, Eoin. Time to get underway for the final time today here at Sepang then. And this 5.5 kilometer, 15 turn circuit is going to come to life once again to the sound of 27 FS1 machines, 19 laps of action, and the big question, who's going to start on the hards, who's going to gamble on the softs here? It could really be anybody's race, in theory at least here, but it's an all Boulder Racing front row then as they are released for the formation lap. And this is where the tension is really going to build then, because Boulder will be hoping to get at least one of their cars onto the podium and hope that one of them can sprint away at the start here. Let's have a look at the starting order. It is Ty Youngstra on reverse grid pole from James Dewberry's teammate. Scott Flack will start third, but overpowered Frank Hamming joining him on the second row. Row 3, it is Che Hatch. After a super sub performance in race 1, Lucas Tylan starts alongside him. We'll be able to get a little bit further away from him. Then it is Michael Francesconi in 7th and Patrick Rozak 8th. Jack Mayer starts P9 with our race 1 winner Alex Laho for company in 10th. 11th place is Jack Menno-Klont with Stephen Lexo joining him on row 6. Row 7, it's Vopka Hoekstra. Another best result of the season for him with Alexander Ragotza getting his best result too in P14. Then Amari Watson in 15th with Damien Cardas for company on row 9 there. We've got Philip Koenig and Michelle Galka. Then on row 10, Wesley Stefano joined by Christian Malcher. Rain Van Sust and Pablo Serrano occupied row 11. Then on row 12, it's Cedric Bill leading Eunice Corrala. Row 13 will be Massimiliano Riboli and Victor Bernat, along with Juho Soppinen in P27 and last. All three hoping to get to the end, which they all failed to do in the first race, of course. So then, we're still circulating and getting back to the starting grid then. And what is there to watch out for here? Of course, we won't really know until the race begins what the true picture is in terms of tyre choices here. But I could see a lot, especially the front runners, playing it quite conservatively on the tier.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's worth for Buddle in the front row just to play it safe. If they're not going to split the strategy, then yeah, try and work together to secure at least one podium. Scott Flack, I suppose the appetite for a gamble. We saw that play out in some respects in race 1, but yeah, we'll have to verify beyond all doubt which driver have gone for the risky soft strategy to see how they get on in the track temperature. It's gone down a little bit since I last checked by about half a degree, so not that big of a swing, but still we'll feel that later into the stint. Soppin in the final car, take his grid slot, so let's get ready for the lights, Ed.
Very short getaway then. 5 lights on for the final time today. We are racing at Sepang in Formula Sprint 1, and it is a decent launch here from Scott Flack. He's tucked in right behind James Duber on the run into turn one. You can see Youngster going right to the outside, holds on to the lead, but look at Frank Hammond going past. Scott back to the outside. Oh, is that Laho sideways? In trouble there. He's got going again, but there's absolute chaos further down the field. Free wide. There is Laho side by side with Alexander Ragosa. Corrales skipped over. Oh, one of the Gary 82s is up in the air. Who is that? Is that Galka, who's tangled with Bernat? And that's 2 retirements in a row for Victor Bernat. And Galka's car is not steering in a straight line, sadly for him. So it's going to be no more points for the pole.
Boddle hang on in sector 1. Riboli here in the other overpower, making his presence felt against Raymond Van Sus there. Could be a clean enough pass. But there we go. Boddle hanging as best they can. Not out of their comfort zone just yet. But Scott Flack down to P4 as Hamming has beaten him to the punch. Oh, slides! And Tylene's in real trouble here. He's lost 3 positions in quick succession. And that's great news there for Che, in particular, to get one of his known rivals from race 1 out of the way. But Jack Mayer
fire on the softs as well, surprisingly.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we have a fair few soft tire drivers. We get the graphics there, so yeah.
Oh no, hards for Lucas Fylan. So actually,
okay, sorry, yeah.
Sort of makes sense. So if what we're seeing is accurate, I believe Youngster and Juba both on the hard. It's Hamming Flack both on the softs. No, okay, Hamming's just gotten through Juba at the final corner there. They're side by side, I think, and it's Hamming that is marginally ahead. No DRS yet on the first lap. Will Juba try and break late on the inside to protect his teammate, if nothing else? Here we go. And the Englishman holds firm, forces Frank Hamming to go the long way around. Hamming will get the inside for turn 2. The Bodal trying to survive this attack. He's left just enough space on the inside. Very clean from Frank Hamming. And the battle will continue all the way down through turn 3 into 4. Flack is going up the inside, trying to pick up both of them if given half a chance. Still side by side into turn 4. Fantastic racing. And this is all helping Tice Youngstra escape up the road. Hamming has got up the inside of Juba and into second. And he needed to next up, Scott Flack has got to do the same. Juba, and he's going to try meeting 7 and 8. That's risky. There's only really one line through there.
Of course, yeah, you should be in full cooperation with an opponent if you're going to race them through that double right-hander. But there we go. Scott Flack has to figure out a way past James Juba as soon as possible with Hamming, with the opportunity to break clear on the soft compound tires. Yellow flags were persistent there in the middle sector, but they seem to be okay now. Patrick Roszak, P5 there, wanting a double podium for his efforts, but Jack Mayer in behind to keep his streak alive when he knows that Lahu is on course to drop the most amount of points he has so far this season, barring a huge fight back after the turn 1 incident that befell the Frenchman there. Still enough time.
I'd love to see a replay of the start, if at all possible. But look at this. Immediately, Jack Mayer to the inside of Patrick Roszak. Mayer on the softs, Roszak on the hards. So he's got to make the progress early on here. He's got the DRS, but Roszak is forcing him to the outside here. But Jack Mayer, I think, has got good momentum. And you also see Che Hatch making a move on up ahead. No, Che Hatch is behind them. Sorry, that is Scott Flack trying to pass Juba and succeeding in doing so. Che Hatch still stuck behind Francisconi, and there's Laho going up the inside of Vopke Hooks here. So Laho, who started on the hard tire, got absolutely swallowed up by the pack and hit in the rear. He's not got too much damage here, but he's still feeling a bit feisty, isn't he? I said it was going to be hard for Laho to win and get onto the podium here, but he's still going to give it a good go to the complete outside of Hooks. That gives him the inside for 5 and 6. So well played there, Alex Laho. But Hooks, we've seen him do this, didn't we? Going back up the inside through turn 6 on Omari Watson early doors. Watson just up the road, but this time holds on, and now it's free to chase his old rival Omari Watson, who beat him, of course, in the reverse grid at Melbourne earlier this season.
Back in the beginning of March, that was Omari Watson's victory down the reverse grid roll. But now let's check out the replay that you requested, Ed, off the start line, and we'll view it from Lahu's point of view there down in P10.
Yeah, you see Mayer ahead of him. The light's about to go out at this point now, so the initial getaway is good. I think Laho maybe gets collected in the rear. You can see a little bit of commotion. One of the HEPs doesn't get away all that well. Laho's moving to the outside here, and it the brakes, or does he tangle with? I think there was a Hamming. I think that he
most likely
turned
Hamming.
across there. So, and there's the second incident of Galka. I think both team are in as well behind them. So it's an absolute pandemonium. And there's Galka getting a bit of a piggyback on the top of Bernat. So yes, Bernat's revenge once again, I'm afraid, and Galka will go no further either.
That's awful to see after race one was such a prime example of reliable, clean racing.
Here comes Mayer.
Oh, Mayer, not
And
quite.
go
this time.
Juba there. So Juba actually has been made cork in the bottle for all these front runners to pick off in this reverse grid, isn't he? And Jack Mayer on the softs, 4 laps in, they'll still be working well here. So Juba has really got to hope for his sake of getting onto the podium. That struggle. We've also seen Youngstra possibly Hamming, by the way. So Hamming once more getting the work absolutely to his rhythm there, and Slack has got the fastest lap 1 second behind the both of them. So at the moment here, can sort of conserve and preserve these softs for the rest of the race, whereas Flack has got to battle past Youngstra to get into P2 here. Do you think about going here?
Yeah, you have to think about it if you're Scott Flack. The opportunity to make these soft tires work against convention. You've got to do it with clear air, to be honest. And Tice Youngstra won't want to give up this podium for love nor money. He really, really would appreciate this chance to get onto a greater plane here in GPVWC to get a podium in FS1. Jack Mayer, he's got the best podium streak of anybody so far after Lahu, of course, finished 4th in the Jeddah.
Oh, here comes Flag. The inside. You can see him making the move into turn 1. Easy as luck. Youngster is just praying for the softs to fall off a cliff here. Now, the interesting thing is Rozak is getting very defensive against Juba and Mayer, and that is allowing our top 3 to escape here. So that could be really, really good, particularly for Youngstra, if he can stop Hamming and Flat from disappearing into the distance here, which, given that they've still got a fair chunk of this race to go, and Youngstra just struggling a bit with exit from turn 4 there. Maybe a bit of inexperience could creep in here at this level in S1 then. So Bodal's set for a podium at the present moment if he can keep that at arm's length behind them here. But now Scott Flack released the chase down Frank Hamming, so the Australian will be very, very keen to take his first win of the season. I don't think Flack has really taken a podium so far this season, has he? Best result for 2-4 positions.
Yeah.
So if he can finish even P2, that would be fantastic for the Australian.
We knew his skills in the 2025 season. He really was one of the great examples of a never give up kind of driver. But I suppose his second half of the season was much better than his first in 2025. So that's what he's got to learn from, is that the tough times can crop up on you even in the early days when you're excited for a new season. So Scott Flack now, some P4's name, he'll want to solidify with a podium. Juba and Jack Mayer clashing there, but nothing too egregious or scary. So there we go. Mayer enters the top 5 again with a lovely pass, but it's not over yet, of course. Juba is just holding his line, really. Mayer wants to make a move straight away on Roshak, but it's not going to happen. And the other Potentia has excitement here with Tylene. He's got to try the switcheroo here, but it's not so easy as the track wiggles around the place after that second hairpin. But Watson up the hill to turn 4. It's definitely a case of, don't make that same mistake again, making contact in the combat situation at turn 4. Thankfully, he backed out this time, and there's still plenty of late racing laps to go.
Yeah, of course, don't forget Watson on softs and Filan still on the hard, 1.7 seconds to Che Hatch and P.A. ahead of all of them. More importantly, Che Hatch's teammate Laho's also been passed by Menno Klon, who's on the softs too. So Menno Klon overtake, of course, on a softer compounded tyre, but you don't get to see that every day then. And now his teammate Bob Hoekstra fancies getting revenge on Alex as well here. So this train really playing against Laho at the moment here. He could even be in danger of dripping out the points. Not careful here, and leaves the door open for the soft tire runners. Yeah,
so let's see how the soft tires come now. They should be in their best shape ever in terms of the fact that the fuel load will start to come down. But then we saw in race 1, cars pitted in the 10 to 14 lap window approximately. So they're going to wear off a bit, and there's a mistake from Rojak. He's left the door wide open for Mayer. Mayer steps in and takes it. Very welcome to see that, but the fight back for Rojak, it's Sebastian Vettel, Mark Webber style there to the pit wall, and back ahead goes Rojak, but he's got to commit. Mayer comes back at him, and this will be great news for James Juba to watch these two scrapping away. He can pick a line into turn 2. Yeah, good tight apex there for Juba, as he can block Francesconi at the same time. But Jack Mayer, a phenomenal fight there. 3 change of position in no time at all, but it is Mayer who gets the victory for now.
You could see he was being held up by Patrick Rozak, and you could see his 4.5 seconds up, starting to escape. He needed to make that move. Laho has gone back around the outside, and he's wiggling his steering as if to send a message there to Menno that he's not happy with Menno's driving there. Laho in a difficult race 2 here, feeling that the midfield runners are not doing him any favours here, and what should they? They want to prove what they can do against a civilized champion here. So Alex has sort of put a bit of a target on his back, and now for the first time this season, that target is starting to be prodded.
Yeah, it's like those times in the, I can't think of exactly which cartoon, but definitely there are times where Bully just keeps winning and winning every single time, but eventually
you mean Tom and Jerry? Where
Tom and Jerry, yeah, that's a 1v1 fight.
Alex is definitely a Jerry.
With the big tomcat of Alex Lahou here. So the French Phenom, as he's been called in the chat, or French Phantom, sorry, French Phantom, I'll correct myself, the French Phantom in our chat. He's having a bit tough of a time here, but yeah, the big tomcat against many Jerrys. But the Jerrys is their chance for a bit of payback here, and Lahou even waiting for a chance to enter the top 10 against Tylene, so we'll have to wait and see if there is a chance to get a 1v1.
Uber's past Rizak here, so that's 2 hard tire runners swapping positions. It's a good both to see Jupe fighting back. Then you see Watson now having cleared Island, having to just hold him off through 1 and 2, and that could give a sniff of a chance to Alex Lahou. Really doesn't take much for Lahou to gain a position here. Violent, of course, collided with Lahou in the previous race. Jaya cost Violent a chance at the podium. Back up inside, a bit more contact into turn 4, and this time Lahou gets through. But yeah, Violent now has to slip behind and now think about ending off Menno Klon and his teammate Hoekstra as well. So really, really tense battle here. Just to sneak back into the top 10 here. Somebody in the chat did say they thought Lahou, even after that spin, would be overtaking for the win by lap 15. I think that's optimistic, but to just get from the actually 10th where he qualified after that spin and that contact, doing very well back here. And of course, we don't know how much the soft tire run is really going to struggle in the final here. So really, it is still very, very close. I think our top 4 are absolutely still in. Maybe even James can sneak back onto the game when he's hard and part Rosette once again. Yeah, Cam 1.8 seconds ahead of Flack, and you definitely sense that Flack is in tyre preservation mode. Youngstra about a second and a tenth behind him, setting 1:41.0, so a couple of times slower per lap. Oh, Rosette really hang out the rears.
I was just going to say, Ed, Juba's on course for personal best this lap. We're going to see once and for all if it is going to be. Yeah, it is a personal best for this reverse grid sprint race.
Personal best, both Bodles.
Yeah, he's just slightly slower than Frank Hamming, but he is quicker than Flack, then Youngstra, and just slower than Mayer there. So very good work there. But with Roshak acting as a distraction there for Michael Francesconi, that'll be even more help for the Bodle racing driver. So that goes to show these tight margins here. But now Roshak, he's paying this favour back, and he's closing in already on Juba, the Englishman there. Already 3/10 in the first sector alone. So a chance for James to get clear. It could be a narrow window, and it could be closing in a matter of minutes. So we'll see how they follow each other in the technical second sector. We'll get through the hairpin turn 9 and see how they cope.
Also personal best last lap for James Juba as he tries to pull away from well, I was about to say Jack Mayer as well, set pretty much the same lap as 1:40.7, and he's 1.6 seconds up the road then on softs. So think about the team's championship as well. HGP leading with Frank Hamming and Francesconi looking to gain ground past Rose. Looks run continues to drop off the back of Juba. see all more is in sector 2. I'm not sure what that is about. We're seeing retirements. I think Koenig is the last. Sam, Ravan, Stefano, and Cardet also followed Galka and Burnett. We saw come together at the first corner then. So this is what befell Philip Koenig then.
Here's the replay. Oh, it was
just a very
slow burner, yeah. Oh, the tire's gone. Yeah, the tire's gone.
So easy to just going through the 9 and 10 really lit up there. So just hard to work in these conditions. We see Jack Mayer now up to 3 past tires extra then. So he's been able to keep the softs alive 10 laps into the race, but now this is where the softs might potentially drop off the cliff. So crucial that Mayer made that move because he's still within touching distance of the top 2 soft tire runners here. So he could well get into a battle with Scott Black in the second part of this race now. But now the soft runners are really going to feel the pain if they use too much of the tire grip and performance in this first part of the race. So Youngstra is not out of the picture just yet then. He can just keep Jack Mayer in sight here. And Juba is close enough to maybe protect him from the likes of Rozak, Francescani, Hatch, and crucially Watson on the softs.
Yeah, so there we go. That's the trick now. Jack Mayer back on the podium to keep that streak alive. The one thing Alex Lahou does not have is an exceptional podium streak, as of course Jeddah brought him back down to P4 overall. Che Hatch now for the Hugh Performance team. He's got the leadership role for a little while longer here. Exceptional debut for him as well, with the likes of Youngstra coming in for Gonzalez Green, and now Hatch is in the seat for Hugh Performance. A great day for newcomers to our series for the evening at least. But now the battle for Francesconi. He's got first dibs here against Roshak, so can he make his way through? This will be one to watch.
Yeah, Jack Mayer, by the way, fastest of our leaders. Last time around 2/10 quicker than both Hemming and Flack, as we saw defensive maneuvers from Rozak in turn 1. He's just leading a big train here, and that's allowing Juba to just slightly get more and more comfortable pulling away from them. So anybody who wants to fight for 5th or 4th place here on hard tyres needs to clear Patrick Rozak in short order here. Only 8 more laps to go, and you can see here Che Hatch is sizing up his options here. Needs to make sure the problem with this is it's a DRS train effectively behind Rozak. Francisco in theory has got first dibs, but you can see every 5 and 6 is really falling back here. This is a couple of corners that really seem to suit Rozak quite well actually. So has Patrick Rozak maybe been keeping his powder dry on the hards until this moment here, because he's really had a much stronger middle sector here.
Yeah, much more impressive middle sector there so far. See how it all pays out with Francesconi. Look pretty strong, and Che Hatch as well. Yeah, there we go. The runaway for Juba at the moment looks pretty strong. The final sector is well underway at this stage, so I'll correct my previous statement. I thought the first sector was the second sector, so my apologies there, my mistake. But Roshak still looking strong here in the 6th position. But Francesconi again just has to make the first move, and then Hatch and everyone behind can respond. And if anything, yeah, Roshak is trying to put the power down after a late apex there, or actually an early apex. It was the late apex of Francesconi, who's now got the DRS, but he's not going to try what Jack Mayer did. Oh, he almost did though, not too shabby, but not enough either, as the brake discs blow. Ragoza looking for a double score for 0-1. He's got a very interesting duel here against Menno Clont, and they're going to wheel bang here, Ed. Up across turn 3 they'll go. The tire's screaming in agony there, but beautiful fighting here with Ragoza. He's really taken to the circuit, and 0-1 Esports be grateful if this move sticks around the outside.
There we go. Ragoza, of course, on the hards, whereas Clont and Hoekstra have both been picked off on the softs. So this is really crunch time for hard tire runners. They need to make the moves. Ragoza, classic example there of tires that hold up much better to the first 12 laps of this race now. So our top 3, they're in a tricky position here. They've just got to hold on as best they can. Hamming 2.5 seconds clear of Flack, but Mayer continuing to match the lap times of Scott Flack to put him under pressure. And don't forget, Youngstra only 1 second behind, still on hards, and they're only going to get stronger from this point on then. So it really could be anybody's game for P2 and P3 here. I think Hamming is doing enough to control this one at the moment.
Yeah, so far so good there for Hamming. To pick up 2 wins in 2 weeks is exceptional stuff here, and that will prove my pre-season prediction reasonably okay that Hamming is in for his best shot at the title. I hope he go all the way, but it would take a phenomenal turnaround for anybody on the grid to stop Lahu at the minute, even if turn 1 has cost him reasonably dearly. But here's Francesconi, another HGP. He's going to try and hook it around Rorschach, and a bit of understeer for both cars. They're going to be very high into turn 2, and that's a beautiful play by Che Hatch. Absolutely outstanding. Can he make it stick all the way to the end? The inside line, though, is open for Francesconi. Che is blocking aggressively. Oh, my goodness. Oh, exceptional stuff here.
He's afraid to get his elbows out, isn't he? But wow, that was opportunism in a half there. And you saw Francesconi getting frustrated then with Rozak and deciding to sort of squeeze a bit from the outside. They made a bit of contact, got tangled up, and Che Hatch said, thank you very much. I'll dive up inside. You can see Rozak coming out of turn 6, going wide onto the runoff there, and that could give an opportunity to Omar Watson on the softs, who is, as ever, been able to keep those guys in good working condition late on in a race 2 situation.
Yeah, even if you pick the hard tires, they're going to be worn down reasonably heavily, even in this 19 race format in the heat here in Malaysia. So, what the drivers in this queue off the podium at the minute, they need to calm it down for a little bit, because the soft tires on the podium sitters at the moment, they definitely will be feeling the heat as the race winds down. So they've got to realize, yeah, the podium is still open for us, as the hard tires will be better, not necessarily in mid conditions. Oh, there's a huge concertina effect there. Poor Omari Watson had to see Rorschach and Francesconi slow each other down with contact, and Rorschach doesn't feel like being generous anymore, and he sweeps through the inside, and there's the open door for Watson to creep into. Can he make it a double head? No, it doesn't look likely, but one position for Watson, and Alex Lahu on target to gain P9 after 14 laps, and not quite P1, but still a single digit number if he can make one more overtake.
Yeah, Fabian still kind of get alongside Ragosa in the back as well. Oh, and he's got around at turn 4 slightly, lost a couple of positions, but that was really just Lahu arriving at a rate and knocked out of control. And all that hard work to get to the top 10 has been completely undone there. But that whole situation's over because Francesconi got really sideways at the final corner. Oh, Meadows going to just almost crowd him out to the outside there. But you can feel Alex's frustration at how this race has gone. And after he fought so hard to get back into play, he is almost immediately made contact there. Difficult to really call exactly what happened, but I think Alex was trying to line up a surprise move on Francesconi and just kind of got it all wrong at the rear there.
Yeah, he really wanted to make that pass, but didn't pay off, I suppose. Yeah, just a 50-50 splits decision.
Oh, Rozak in more trouble.
Oh, yeah, Francesconi back ahead. So Rorschach is really suffering this lap. He's down those places. And it's an open door for Alexander Ragosa, perhaps. With 5 laps to go. Race leader Hamming crosses the line for 5 to go. Ragosa on the inside for the final hairpin, but the corner exit speed is actually great for the Emerald Hummingbird. But Ragosa has to watch out for tiling behind. He can't do anything too rash in case Eoin makes contact. And they do realise, yeah, it's better to let these fighters get a job done for Tylene's perspective, so he lets them get on with the job. And Ragosa for 01 Esports down on their luck for the last 6 weeks, but now they've finally seen some joy, and there's Ragosa in the top 10. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, not done yet. Here comes Rozak looking for revenge. He's got a wheel up the inside of turn 4, and they do make a little bit of contact, but look at all safe sound there as you see low background trying to go back up the inside to turn 5. I hope that turns out well. but it looks like Menno just holding on there. Meanwhile, while all this got going on, Jack Mayer 7/10 behind Scott Flack, trying to steal second position in this particular race. Then he's only got a couple laps left to do it though, and Scott Flack defending well. You can see he's dropped nearly 4 seconds behind Frank Hamming now. So it really is all about the fight for the minor positions here. Frank Hamming has got things sewn up out front.
Oh my
Goes Zach.
It's Rorschach, yeah, you're absolutely right. He's completely stuck now in the grass. He doesn't have the energy to carry on any further. His day is done.
So what on earth happens here to the Polish driver? So he's got filing behind. He just light up the rear tires, goes over the curb, and he has a little moment and then gets stuck on the curb, and that just sends him into oblivion basically.
Yeah, it does, and that allows Christian Malsharek for Team Iris. We recall we're stuck backward.
Oh, it does, but Flack is ahead. Flack is fighting with Mayer at the moment as we look at Menno Clont still dueling away with Laho, and I think Flack under real pressure to hold on to P2, and so is Menno.
Yeah, Clont and Laho here. Look at the Q Performance car just sliding all over the track with Clont. He knows his teammate is here. He doesn't want to...
Matt, so close. Sorry, he's right behind Flack at the moment.
Yeah, so there we go. Now look at Jack Mayer. Jack Mayer versus Scott Flack for position here. Mayer. Oh, wow. That's stunning again in this race 2 format. And Jack Mayer's the latest to absolutely drop my jaw. That was stunning. Absolutely fantastic. And Scott Flack has lost nearly the 7/10 already in just 3 corners. That was really special.
And Youngstra only about 9/8 behind him as well, so Flack has really got to fight to hold on to his first podium of the season there, but that required a lot of cooperation for that move with Mayer into 5 and 6 to end cleanly there. But yeah, fantastic racing between the two. I'd love to see how that started, but of course so much going on with after the race. Yeah, Frank Hamming now will be breathing a sigh of relief that he's got the gap that he does, because Mayer looking to be a real threat, not just in this race, but also in the championship against Laho, who down in 12th is still fighting way behind Menno Clont, and Menno somehow keeping the softs in play at this late part of the race. As we see Ragosa going for P8 now on Francesconi. So Ragosa is just absolutely soaring at this point. Good stuff from the pole.
Yeah, really impressive again here. So now the 3 laps to go. Signal given here. So Ragosa, a heck of a performance here. Shout out for him if he can keep this form up. But down the inside though, Francesconi, very good job to get that position. Menno Clont is probably doomed to lose this spot to Laho, and again look at the tail happy Q Performance car get out of shape. But there you have it. We can have a little bit of a moment here to breathe. But yeah, the point I was trying to make there was Malsharek. We remember Team Iris were facing backwards in the middle of turns 1 and 2, and now Malsharek inherits the point. Menno Clont with a look back at Laho there, giving him a warning shot to say, yeah, I'm here, I'm not going to be forgotten about.
Menno will be making friends with Alex in the race. But anyway, well, this is going Youngstra within 6/10 of Scott Flack at the moment, really trying to take his first podium. Both of them looking for their first podium of the season, but Bodal have got both cars within touching distance at that 3rd spot here. So Scott Flack really will have to use all the stops. He's known for saving his tires in the past. He's got to do it for just a few more laps without losing position here. Don't forget Che Hatch as well in the 2nd in arrears. This could be a really close fight in the race.
Number 63 is Gonzalez Green's chassis, so that car has been on the podium twice. Unfortunate to not have won in Suzuka, as Laho basically won the race with the last couple of laps going his way. But Scott Flack with 2 bottles in behind. They could pick the swap formation, but down the inside will go Tice Youngstra here, and he does have clearance. Watch out, of course, for James. James also down the inside. Juba looks to make the move, and that could be Scott Flack's dream of a podium shattered, and Lorenzo Terevich-Vodcic will be dancing across the living room there. Brilliant job there.
Oh, and it looks like Ragosa having to fight against the Francesconi to hold him off, so David Wasserman in 0-1 similarly will be doing a bit of a dance as well for their own strong performance. And even still got Watson on the softs in sight, so Omari I think suffering exactly what Scott Flack is as well at this point. Still just a lap and a half to go, and Youngster about 2.2 seconds behind Mayer, so it's unlikely to be able to steal second position, but still third would be huge then, and Juba there to back him up in case Flack regroups here as we do. Oh, brief yellow flags there. Corral, I think, is our latest time. I think he retired a couple hours ago, so no, he's just retired is what I'm hearing. There we go. So that is that then. Che Hatch now next to challenge Flack for P5.
Didn't get to see how his hard tires would cope under stress, so Cap Clay will want to put this race behind them. Double DNF there for Junis. Oh, sorry, well, one DNF, but one case where he's towards the back of the grid, so it'll feel like a DNF in some respects. But Che Hatch now looking for a shot at the top 5. He's got the opportunity, and Scott Flack is losing a lot of speed on those soft tires, and Che has made that move stick. And final lap begins for leader Frank Hamming. He's had a much happier time on the soft tires than poor Al Scott, but yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Oh, here we go. Flack's not done with Che Hatch just yet. Sneaky move. The inside. Oh, understeers into him a little bit there. And again, more tires contacting with one another. So Che Hatch, we're feeling a little bit, what was that about? I think on exit here. But unless he steals P5. And now, Juba very close to Youngstra in the fight for P3 here. Both of them want to be the first to take the podium, but Jack Mayer is almost within touching distance here. So does Juba play the team game, or does he go for that position on the final lap of a move into the last corner maybe?
Well, just the 11 points from his first appearance at Jeddah 2 weeks ago. I think it would be safe just to take the comfortable points, I suppose, with Hatch too far back. But yeah, the trick will be to get Bottle a 3 and 4 finish, but Frank Hamming should be heading towards the back straight in just a moment's time, so we'll see how he gets on to claim the checkered flag. There he is now into turn 14. He's almost there, and the fight for perhaps 8th position could be worth watching as well, but Hamming almost towards the end of the race here. Very impressive winner indeed, can get to the final corner.
Going to gain him and Mayer, going to both gain a lot of points on Laho here, but through the final corner comes Frank Hamming, and once again the reverse grid race will go to the Dutchman. Another win for HGP, this time in Sepang. Fantastic job from Frank Hamming.
Yeah, he's in the elite form now. He's got 2 wins in 2 weeks, and now we can see after Mayer and Youngster across the line. Oh my goodness, that's Watson. He's lost his position there. Tylene has slipped by on the start-finish straight, not the final corner, the actual start-finish straight, where it's quite short on the run-up to the line here compared to other circuits on the calendar. And Watson has just run out of juice there. Let's check out the action replay to decipher exactly what happened here. So there's Tylene. He's ahead of Ragosa as well. Watson is defending the inside line very tightly there. Tylene goes quite high. And that's what it is. Ragosa got through, of course. Alexander Ragosa.
So he let him through.
So yeah, he's played a sporting role there. So he realizes he's cost him a point or 2 there. So Ragosa benefits completely. But yeah, he realized Tylene was unfairly battered to one side there. So he gives the position back. So yeah, respect.
Yeah, but it was a messy day for Watson overall. And that put his teammate Jack Mayer into the box seats in a championship fight. Him and Frank, I think, have emerged as the main challengers to Laho at the end of this. The Ruboli is going to take the fastest lap, funnily enough, having switched the softs midway through the race. Just coming through now to finish in P19 to his fastest lap, 1:39.5. About half a second quicker than our race winner, Frank Hamming's best lap time. But that shows the difference between conservation and all-out attack.
Yeah, so there we have it. My goodness gracious, we had race 1, certainly a slow burner, lots of thinking and tactical dueling, but race 2 went astronomical with the fighting and the scrapping away there. So what a fine show that was. But let's have it with Ed running down our classified order.
So then, confirmation, as you say, of the final results for the time being. Frank Hamming wins for the second time of the season. One corner of a grid. He is triumphant with Jack Mayer, P2 for the second race in a row. So Mayer's podium streak that stretches back to race 2 in Japan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 podiums in a row. Not as impressive as Laho getting 7 wins overall in the season, but nonetheless, Jack Mayer taking full advantage today. Then it's Bodal, 3 and 4, their best team result of the season so far, with Youngster leading home. Juba, Che Hatch just getting 5th right in the final lap, ahead of Scott Flack, who'll be disappointed to fall off the podium in the final stages there. Ragosta from for near but just inside the points gets into P7 for 0-1's best result of the season, and then with Lucas Violin in P8. And Ryan Watson, with that late collision with Violin, lets him through and has to settle for P9 with Francesconi. Bit of a messy race for Francesconi. He finished P10 as well, but still a strong day for HGP. Alex Laho outside the top 10 for the first time this season. This will be lip he will be king for us to forget very quickly. Stephen Leck takes P12, and then it's the 2 CM techs of Menno Klont and Vopke Hoekstra, with Christian Matrex taking the final point for Team Iris, and his first point of the season, if I'm not mistaken, for Matrex. And then, of course, oh no, he did finish 11th in race 2 in Jeddah in Matrix, so it's his second points of the season. Pablo Serrano just missing out for 0-1. And then we, of course, have got Cedric Bill in 17th. Juho Soppinen did get to the end in P18, and he's very keen for us to interview him, apparently. And then Massimiliano Riboli was our final finisher, as we saw on track in P19. Sadly, Yunus Kerala retired late on. Sorry, pardon me. Patrick Rodak was 21st. In terms of our retirements, also not getting to the end were Philip Koenig, both MS Performance cars of Van Susten, Stefano, both GAL 82s of Cardaz, and Galka, who was sent on a bit of a bucking Bronco ride by Victor Bernat then. So, yeah, considering both Team Iris cars spun, Christian Matrik doing very well after the first corner to still finish in the points then. But there we go. Plenty of hard luck stories today then. But let's hear from some of our interviewees then, Eoin, because I'm sure a lot of drivers are very keen to talk to us.
As well, they should. We have so many narratives and interesting dynamics to think about. So, yeah, it's a very busy waiting room. So, you'd imagine, I suppose, Jack Mayer, we really haven't had many chats with him so far this season, so we worked bringing him in.
Yeah, otherwise he'll lose patience with us. So let's drag him in. So we've just been joined by potential Grand Prix very own Jack Mayer, having finished second in both races. Firstly to Laho, and then to Frank Hamming in the second race. So a very strong day today, Jack, and some amazing moves in the process. And the podium streak continues.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was all right. It was probably the best I could have done today. I think race 1, I didn't have the pace to close on Alex. I could match him. I could keep within touch and distance, but yeah, not the pace to close him down. And race 2, starting back in 9th, it was always going to be hard. The softs are always the plan for race 2. From what we've done testing, like we knew the hards were never going to be faster than them, but having to come through so many cars just made it really hard trying to save the tyres while overtaken, so I had to get the elbows out a little bit.
Could you talk us through the move on Scott Flack into turns 5 and 6 as well? Because that looked very close.
I've got many moves I could look back on. I'm going to have to watch it back. But if I remember rightly, everyone was defending into turn, I guess we'll say turn 4. Everyone was defending into turn 4
on the bottom
today.
of the hill, yeah.
Yeah, everyone was defending into that just because obviously you don't want to be the car following for the S's. So I thought, okay, he's going to go defensive. So I went to the outside. I think he was actually going to leave the inside open, but I already moved to the outside. And I thought, I've got to come around here now because I didn't want to sit behind him another lap because I could see his times are dropping and it wouldn't be long, especially with how hard we fought through turn 1. I could see the hards were going to catch the next lap, and they did catch him. So I thought, I've got to get through. Especially when the tyres are dying, these softs, you've got to take such a wide entry into the S's just so that you don't overstress them, overheat them through the right-hander. So I knew he was going to be
wide on entry, so I thought I'll just go as tight as I can so that I can at least cut him off. It puts him offline through the right-hander, and it worked. It's exactly what I was expecting, really.
Yeah, fantastic. And that really put you in a position to not have to worry too much about the Bodles right at the end of that second race then. Final question from me before I throw to Eoin. Obviously, Drivers' Championship, there's still quite a gap to Loho, despite him having a bad race too there. But in the Teams Championship, I think Hugh Performance briefly got ahead after race 1, but I think you're back in control with the HGP also closing in, with Frank Hamming having won, of course. So is that the main aim, you and Omari taking the Teams Championship? Or do you think Alex is, with 11 races to go, do you think you can get the upper hand at this point?
It is hard to say. I mean, you would be naive to think it was going to be easy to catch Alex with that gap. Even if it was only 10, 15 points, it'd be hard to beat him with how well he's performed this year. So, yeah, our main focus is on teams. Obviously, races like today, as good of a result it was for me, I got the max I think I could. Amari obviously had a lot of bad luck today. He had a starting issue. His car went into anti-stall off the line. And, you know, we want to be fighting in the top 4. Amari could have had a podium today, race 1, but, you know, one little thing puts you into the midst of it, and suddenly you're racing other people's hands, you're racing people you don't want to be racing, and it doesn't just have a knock-on effect of race 1. It messes up your race 2 because, you know, it's got to start down in 15th. So
Vicious cycle, yeah.
It is one thing, the butterfly effect. It can be the difference of him getting maybe a double podium today, which I think he had the pace to, or you know, having to fight his way through to a P9, which he's not happy with. He's better than that. I know he's better than that. He knows he's better than that. And if we want to win the team's championship, then we need to have as little of these kinds of races as possible. So all I can do is focus on my race, try to continue this podium streak, because as long as I'm finished on the podium, I'm bringing good points, and Amara is good enough to also be there. We just need luck to swing in our favour more often than not. But yeah, focusing on teams. Obviously, it's hard as well. You've got Alex winning race 1. You've got Frank, always one of the favourites to win race 2, because where he's been finishing recently always puts him in a prime position for race 2, especially when you have higher reverse grids like today. You know, if you win race 1, you're starting in P10, and tracks like here where it's so hard to overtake, so hard to follow, you're not expecting to get a win if you've finished in the top 3 in race 1. And there's quite a few races like this, so drivers like Frank, who more often recently have been in that reverse grid area, they can really benefit from the race 2. So it's a bit harder for us to negate the points that they close in race 2, but like I say, all we can do is finish as high as we can. You know, that's all there is to it. That's what we're doing. That's what we'll continue to do to the rest of the season. We'll see where it ends up.
Thank goodness race 1 offers a couple more points then, isn't it? But anyway,
it is, yes.
Owen, any questions for our 2023 champion?
Hey, Jack. Just a quick one, I suppose. The Canadian Grand Prix next up. You've got a respectable history there. I recall in 2023 you got a 2nd and a 3rd there. So is that a track that you're looking forward to coming back to in FS1? Yeah. Canada's always been one of my strongest tracks. I might be wrong. Did I not win Canada in 2023? Maybe I'm wrong. I remember. No. Shimon had incidents. No, I'm not. Shimon had a bad time at that.
Yeah, but either way, it was still a good round for me, and I think Super Lights as well. That was my only win in 2024. Yeah. So yeah, it's a race I've been looking forward to compared to the last few races, and I going in obviously expecting a good result, but these tyres are weird. These cars can be weird. The grid can be weird. So who knows?
Commentators can be weird.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, it's another race. We're going to try to get the most points. It could be a tough race for Amari. I can't really comment more on that, but yeah, we'll get the most points we can, and hopefully it's a race that will reward us.
Well, anyway, best of luck, Jack, and thanks again for talking to us, and well done. Continuing podium streak. I look forward to talking to you after podiums number 8 and 9 next time.
We'll see. That's the target. Thanks, guys. See you later.
See you, Jack. Bod will have a full contingent, so should we bring in the 3 guys
Yeah, let's keep Alex Laho waiting, shall we? Lovely to for the first time this season as well, so let's bring him in.
Yeah, so the three guys from Bodl are coming into the interview room. So, Lorenzo Atarovich Funcic, welcome on in. You must be absolutely delighted.
I am. I'm very delighted, especially with the calculations I did waiting for the interview. But, you know, I'm not the one who made those calculations come true. So I think if anyone's going to speak first, I think the first question is going to the drivers I had on board today who did such an amazing job.
Yeah, so I suppose, Tice, you got yourself that podium, so you must be surely over the moon with that. Reverse grid Paul in the second race. So how on earth did you feel at the start? It was definitely tense with the other drivers gambling on the soft tires. So how did you feel you went today?
Yeah, I definitely did not expect to get a podium today, especially with only one day to practice, but it felt really good. Obviously, I saw that I got the pole and I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. But yeah, I just I drove my own race most of the time. I knew the people behind me were on soft, so I knew there was no point fighting them. I just had to drive my own race, and I knew maybe in the end it will all go my way, and it did. Maybe if like 2 more laps or maybe even 1 more lap, and I would have maybe got Jack as well. But I mean, I can't be happier with this. This is incredible.
I suppose, James, on your point, you were able to help out also on the front row to make sure Tice and yourself were able to work together at times. And I suppose at the end of the race, were you tempted at all to go for it, or were you happy enough with fourth?
Yeah, I was trying to go for it. I mucked up the hairpin, but I mean, I wasn't going to go for a dive bomb down to the final corner and risk anything, because P3 and P4 was amazing result as is, so it doesn't matter which way around we finished.
Absolutely. Ed, any questions for the trio?
Not particularly. James is a former driver, I'd say congratulations. And to Tice, yeah, great performance all day, especially qualifying in race 1 was really impressive as well. I know race 1 didn't quite go to plan, and you and James had to swap positions near the end on the different strategies, of course. So I suppose, Tice, how do you feel about the strategy in race 1? Because obviously there was a little bit of contact. You were right in the thick of that sort of P4 battle, essentially. Do you think you got the strategy right in the end, or do you wish you'd started on the hards?
I don't think the strategy was anything wrong with the strategy. I think it was just the setup was better for the soft, and maybe I should have changed the wings during the pit stop. So yeah, the hard stint was really bad for me, but I changed a few things in the brake, and then race 2 went a lot better. So I think if I had changed the wings on my pit stop in race 1, it could have gone a lot better. But it is what it is. I'm happy with both the results. So yeah, we look forward to the next race.
Absolutely, totally not a bad showing for your first race of the FS1 season
Exactly.
at all. And best of luck for your FS2 campaign as well, if indeed Alexander Gonzalez-Green comes back for the next race in Canada. So I suppose final question goes to Lorenzo, really. Obviously a great day, return to form for the team. Are you expecting it to continue in Canada?
Fingers crossed. Again, as Faye said himself, he had 1 day of practice. It was supposed to be Alex with us today, but he sent me a message last night saying something came up at work. He had to come in during the race and he wasn't going to be able to attend. Faye was ever so kind to accept my offer, and it worked out pretty well. As I said, I did some calculations waiting for the interview, and we have now jumped up to 4th in the team's championship. We've jumped KKR and Emerald Hummingbird. I'm not saying that we're going to challenge for the win, but we will be gunning to outscore both of them come Montreal and going forwards into the season as well, and try and stay in the top 5 in the team's championship as long as we can, and hopefully finish in there as well.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing how you get on. Thanks for talking to us, Tice Youngster, James Juba, and Lorenzo Atarovich Funcic.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
There we go. Nice and efficient. It's difficult to get through 3 drivers in a timely, 3 people in a timely manner. But, right. Shall we move on to Hugh Performance next? Let's get both Alex Laho and Che Hatch in.
Yeah, let's bring them in.
So we're now joined by Hugh Performance's very own Alex Laho, and making his debut this season Che Hatch with 2 point scoring drives. So shall we start with Alex then? Obviously, front row lockout in race 1, and then a pretty dominant victory over Jack Mayer. And then race 2, a little bit more unexpected for you. It's fair to say, with a little, I think it was a move on Hamming that didn't quite work out and ended giving you a lot of work to do. A frustrating race 2, obviously. You've had a little bit of time to calm down. I guess a mixed day overall for you, Alex, for the first time this season.
Yeah, hello guys. Well, for starter, qualifying, that happened, sure. Track bug, yeah. Airborne, why not? Okay. Pretty stale race 1 on my own, same as Jack, I would say. Just no man's land, just driving, and that's it.
I
Just
wouldn't describe the
testing
lead
cars
as no man's land, but yeah.
No, I mean, like, there wasn't much action, like, it was just driving and doing nothing else.
Ooh, I can think of a
Was
few World
basically,
War One combatants that might disagree with you, but
wait.
Anyway,
No, I mean, Ben Skinner was basically doing engineering stuff for us, so I was yapping to him about pretty much anything. Trying to take the boredom away. But race 2 was a whole different story. What was that?
you're gonna have to know where to start there. Is this the first corner or just everything after with Menno?
Everything from turn 1, from Francesconi moving under braking, making me lose 3 positions, to Menno taking me out in a high-speed corner, to bro, what can I say? It was a pretty action-packed race 2, but it was like a Murphy's Law race 2. If something can go wrong, then it will go wrong, and that's pretty much what happened. I'm glad I didn't lose the front wing though. That's fine. That's okay. That's lucky.
Still got to score the points even on the bad days. So yeah, P11. It may be frustrating, but at the end of the championship, you're going to be thankful for those 4 points or so, aren't you?
Yeah. We can only say that. We can only hope. What about you, Che?
Well, I was going to let Eoin ask you a question first, and then we're going to move on to Che.
Okay.
But so go on.
I suppose a similar enough question there that I asked Jack. The Canadian Grand Prix in 2 weeks, is that a circuit that you enjoy, Alex? Is it one you look forward to?
No.
Uh-oh.
You said that about Bahrain, and then you won both races.
Yeah, that's true.
No. Come on, no.
Okay, well,
no.
It's because Jack beat you in super lights there, so that's what he's afraid of.
We don't speak about that.
it's been spoken.
Okay. Too late. I'm sorry. Anyway, Che Hatch. Let's move on to you.
Yeah.
So, a great performance. You joined Alex on the front row in qualifying, just beat Jack Mayer. Difficult first corner, and then you were sort of in the pack for the rest of race 1. But finished P9, I think, in the end, after a bit of contact here and there, especially with Lucas Filin. Was not terribly... didn't give you a whole lot of space. And then race 2, you fought your way to, I think, P6 by the end, just beat Scott Flack in the closing stages then. So, all in all, very important points for the second Hugh car, so you did a very, very good job.
Yeah, I mean, I just tried to stay out of trouble the whole time. But I think the trouble came to me in race 1. Yeah, it was a bit of a war zone. Like, I don't know. I think it's hard to. I had to check the replay and stuff, but yeah, I feel like I got a little bit bullied in race 1, and then kind of learned from it in race 2. So
it was
yeah,
a great
I'm just
moment
gonna-
in race 2, by the way. Sorry to cut you off. Where I think it was it Francesconi and Rozak were dueling away in front of you. They got tangled up with each other at turn 2, and you just went up the inside of both of them.
Oh yeah, it was like a through goes Hamilton move.
Owen was going apoplectic
I loved
with
it.
joy.
Lap 13, yeah, it's so
Yeah.
good.
When I got the switchback and then I was on the straight, I had the biggest smile ever. 'Cause I kind of set it up into the turn before, and I was kind of banking on them going wide, and yeah, it just fell into my lap. So it's probably the best moment in this race, I think.
Yeah, and a series of high moments as well. Che, obviously your first taste of FS1 this season. It's great to be commentating on you again, because it's been like a long time for me, like 5 or 6 years since the last time I was commentating a race you were in. Would you be tempted to do FS1 again with another team if they decided to give you the call?
I mean, I hope I'll
be with Hugh for the rest of the season, hopefully.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought it was emergency drive, but there we go.
No, I think I think I'll be in for the rest of the races. I have to check, but yeah, I hope this is just a start. I don't know. I'm hoping for maybe a few podiums here and there, see what I can do. But yeah, just gaining experience every time I go out on track, and we'll see how I go next round.
Absolutely. Oh, and any questions before we let Trey go?
Well, you definitely took my question about the phenomenal double overtake, but were there any other interesting fights in race 2? Because there's definitely so much going on that you enjoyed, Che. Anything else beside that, Pass?
Maybe not race 2, but race 1. There was lots of ding dongs, and I think with Lucas Steidlin, I feel like that was probably like it was a bit touch and go. But it's
quite
all
literally,
good. Yeah. But it was all good racing. I don't think anything's going to be reported or anything like that. But yeah, just learning how to sort of the racecraft with these cars and stuff. But yeah, enjoying it at the same time as well.
Oof. I feel like Alex is going to be making several reports on the other side of the gap at race 2, so we'll have to see.
I'll have to
very quickly,
maybe
Che, as well.
not.
Just the double stack was very interesting. I didn't expect that at all. So just complete winging it and a prayer, basically.
Yeah, I had no idea that the second car would have extra time added on. So my tyres were dead. So I had to come in, otherwise I'd lose like a bunch of time doing the extra lap. But I thought I timed it perfectly, so when Alex was moving off, I was into the box. But I think the extra time meant I came out behind Lucas, and then I feel like that kind of scuppered my chances of a podium. Almost. Yeah. Bit of a rookie error on my part.
But still, it's the best possible rookie error to make, as you know exactly what to do next time.
Yeah, still managed to bring home some points as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, we've really enjoyed watching you tonight, Jay, and best of luck for the rest of the season. I'm sure Duong, team boss, is going to be very, very happy with the job you did today. And, of course, Alex as well. Despite race 2, through very little fault of his own, I'm sure he would agree. Not going quite to plan. But anyway, thanks for talking to us, guys, and best of luck for you chasing that team's championship, which just got a whole lot more likely.
Champions League games are crazy. Damn. I'm looking at my phone, sorry.
Okay, well, feel free to leave the broadcast room whenever you're ready, as I drag our final 2 interviews in. Sorry.
I'm just going to camp here.
Okay. Never mind, just be quiet. You can do that. So then, I think we've got Scott Flack from Overpower and Juho Soppinen. Juho just sent me a message saying Scott and Juho want to be interviewed together, which I'm sure Scott will agree with. So let's do Scott first and then Juho. So joining us now, we have got Scott Flack from Team Overpower, an coughing interview, Mr. Juho Soppinen. So while Juho's getting his breath back, let's talk to Scott before he has to immediately go to bed after, an interesting day. So a good pair of races for you, Scott. Obviously, alternate strategy in the first race, playing out fairly well. Did you get, I think it was top 6 in both races, if I'm not mistaken? Or was it, no, it was top 9 in race 1 and then top 6 in race 2.
Yeah, it was 8th in race 1, but I probably should have been fighting with Patrick for the podium. I got spun in turn 1 just after I came out on the softs. Yeah. I mean, I haven't looked back at it, but it looks like it would have been tough. I mean, I think it went 3 wide, and yeah, it's easy to make a touch when you're 3 wide into turn 1. So I don't blame him yet until I have a look at the replay.
That's very gracious of you. I can feel the part-time steward coming out there in Scott Flack. But nonetheless, race 2, interesting call to go for the softs then, when a lot of your competition went for the hards. Obviously, got up to 3rd, and then, 2nd actually, wasn't it? And then Mayer got past, and then you were kind of a sitting duck for both of the Bodals and Che Hatch as well. So obviously frustrating end, but do you think it was still worth going for the softs?
Not really sure. It might have worked out roughly about the same in the end, I think, to be honest, because I wasn't quite as fast on the hards as others, I think. In the first race, the hards were dying as fast as the softs were as well for me. But I did have a bit of damage from the first lap, so I'm not sure if that played into it. So yeah, I just decided I'll take the softs and try and manage it through the high speeds and But yeah, towards the, I think last 4 or 5 laps maybe, just turning in the car and it did not want to turn at all. It was done.
Well, there we go. Just hard luck, unfortunately, but still, nonetheless, some good points in both races, which Eoin Overpower very much needed then. So I'm sure Canada, where you performed so well last season, is going to be another fantastic outing for you. Eoin, any questions for our favourite Aussie?
I think you've covered the bases again there, Ed, but I suppose...
Sorry.
Right, no, it's
what
fine, absolutely no problem. Just trying to home in exactly in race 1 was sort of your high point, Scott. Like, I think you had a good fight with a couple of drivers. Certainly Watson, when he was on his charge back up. Was that a particular moment of intrigue for you?
To be honest, I don't remember it.
Oh, you don't remember? Yeah.
I think he had a very good first stint on the hards, actually.
Yeah, it was a good stint.
It felt very difficult at first. I was just missing out on the DRS from the softs ahead of me every lap and getting past. I was just trying to hold on to someone's DRS so I wouldn't get past constantly, but eventually it settled down and I got into a rhythm. And by the end of it, I caught back up to Patrick when he pitted. So yeah, it was actually okay. But yeah, the battles I actually remember more race 2 when Jack came past me. Considering my tyres were dead and I'm sure his weren't that great either, it was a pretty good battle to have.
Yeah, you had to cooperate quite a lot into 5 and 6 there. Sorry to go across you.
That's fine.
All right, I just want to make that statement. But anyway, thank you very much for talking to us, Scott. I realise it's probably even later there than it is here, so we'll let you enjoy your well-earned points. And yeah, best of luck for Canada. As I said, I'm sure you're going to be absolutely fantastic there. So we look forward to seeing you in action.
Thanks, guys. It's only 7:20, not too bad.
There we go. Just enough time to get an hour in before work. Anyway, let's move over to Mr. Super Soppinen, once again subbing in. He's got his laptop out. I'm not sure what he's trying to tell us. Softs are not very good, is what it says on there. And Yuho seems to be dressed as a koala.
No, I'm not. No, it's just a microphone.
Oh, right, you just strapped it to your glasses.
What twist?
Okay, there we go. So, Yuho, I'm sure you had quite a few adventures out there. Race 1 was very short. We saw you spin right after somebody else spun at turn 4, and then you retired. And then race 2, another decent finish. Was it P26 in the end, or P24? Might have been
race 1. Wait, race 1?
No, Pete, you didn't finish race 1.
Yeah, I didn't finish race 1 because there was no balance at all, and I got a new high score on my speed run, as I can say. But either way, there was less time to prepare, and to some people that might have heard me say I might retire from sim racing, I'm not actually going to retire. I just don't have a seat for the next race. I think this might be my last FS1 race, but hopefully I find a primary seat at some point. And honestly, it is an abysmal way to end the emergency career of FS1. But either way, then of course, yeah, it was because of how do I say it? I don't know. Car did not feel...
Jumping from team to team, it's never going to be the easiest thing because they all work differently, don't they?
Yeah, I'm stepping up every time to another team. Oh wait, it's already May Day, so happy May Day to everyone in Finland.
Oh yeah, you've crossed over. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, a bit of a May Day, of course, in the race 1, but either way we found a rhythm at some point. Either way.
Yeah, and you still got that point from Jeddah as well. So your emergency stint, you still got on the scoreboard, and that definitely still means something. As Yuho is absolutely dying here in this interview.
I'm actually having fever and a long-awaited flu. So yeah, I raced.
We shouldn't have left Yuho to last because I think you might not make it to the end of the interview at this rate. It's been that kind of day. Eoin, any questions for the man at the end of his emergency career and hoping for a full-time seat?
Yeah, I suppose, Juho, did you see what happened at turn 1 on race 2?
Well, I happened to see it also live when I was there, so of course.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I was almost involved in that. So
okay.
yeah, of course, I had to quote it from Robert Kubica as well. So shout out to him if he's ever watching. But either way, it was fun out there. I wanted points, but Soft said no, and we decided to do a double stint, and I tried to make it to the end with those softs. So I wanted that fastest lap. To be fair, I ended on what I can say a speed run at least. But either way, second fastest lap, not bad. I'm not really ashamed of getting second fastest lap. I guess that's going to be a silver trophy at some point. But either way, hopefully I will get a seat for FS1. I feel like these cars actually suit me a lot, but just not on this track. Even though this track has been always fond of me, and I love the track, but with these cars, nevertheless, not the greatest combination. So yeah, I would also like to thank Andy for coaching me, and also a few people as well. So thank you to Vera and Amir for giving the support, and obviously I could get points, just not today, but maybe tomorrow. Wait, no, not tomorrow. I meant next race, if I ever get a chance at the primary seat. Once again, I've already hinted that out many times. I don't know if I'm getting a primary seat, but well, hey, if that's how it is, then I try to find myself in some other situations. If I do find myself in a primary seat, oh Christ, don't. Oh, come on. The fever is hindering my brain a little bit, but I don't know. Yeah, well, CPU is overeating.
I think I did a stream with COVID once. I managed to get out of bed long enough to do a broadcast with COVID, so I know how it feels, you know.
And the best way to calm yourself down before the race is just to meditate. Even if you have a bad quali. Even if you have a good quali, meditate.
Exactly. Well, the good news, you said you were 2 tenths shy of Riboli's fastest lap, but you did finish over 40 seconds ahead of Massimiliano Riboli in race 2, so that is definitely something. So, yeah, obviously a difficult day in terms of being ill and trying to get the best out of it, you hope. But if you need a cheerleader, me and Eoin are definitely going to praise when you do well, as we did in Jeddah. So, yeah.
I've got a lot of cheerleaders at this point.
Yeah.
So
well wishes.
Yeah, well wishes, of course. And either way, I hope Fabian is not too tired. So I'll now stop talking. So Fabian, you've done your hard work, and thank you for the cameras as well.
There we go. I'm sure Fabian absolutely appreciates that. There we go. We even get a thank you. You can't hear it on stream, but Yo finally communicates with the race broadcast director then. So anyway, I think that's a good place to bring the interviews to a close then. So as we let Yo Soppinen finally leave and get some tissues and some aspirin. Let's. There we go. Oh, he's not got aspirin. He's got something that I can't say on stream. But
It's an empty bottle.
All right. Oh, that's good to hear. Eoin, before Yuho completely derails this stream, would you like to give a few closing thoughts and sum up the day's events? Of course, Laho winning race 1, Hamming race 2, and Mayer second in both of them.
When you frame it like that, Ed, I suppose it feels like it was a predictable affair with not much going on, but it was completely opposite. Absolutely brilliant racing at times. Definitely this track is a welcome return to GPVWC action. So, yeah, I was pleased to see it play out like it did. And definitely the high temperatures made it very difficult to play a strategic game in some elements, particularly in the reverse grid race 2. But the way it goes is definitely a challenge for everybody, and I'm delighted that we all got through it in the end. So well done.
Yeah, we got to the end of another FS2, FS1 week, but of course next week we have got Super Lights on Tuesday and a big one, Super League, coming up next Thursday. Okay, as we go into May, still 2 more rounds of GPV at the Sepang International Circuit to go, of course. So if you want to see whether Loic Monia can hold on to that lead in the Super League Championship, or whether the likes of Matteo Milnek can get the upper hand once again, or maybe if THR can get in the mix, then feel free to tune in. But anyway, thank you very much for watching FS1 from Sepang, of course. Round 5 in the books, still 11 to go, and Laho with a slightly reduced lead, but nonetheless some fantastic performances from all of our main runners today, and a couple of underdogs squeezing through and getting important first points of the season. So from me, Edward Hunter, from him, Eoin Harmon, and from Fabian Jungbluth on broadcast direction, everybody here at GPVWC, it is good night and thanks for watching.
Proceed.